we listen, this is going to be the first week that everything is recorded, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. So obviously this time is not right. We're here at 4 p.m. and I appreciate everyone on the flexibility. Like I said, next week is going to be perfect. I can promise that. So guys, today, like I said out in the email, we're going to be going through a really cool case study today. We'll spend the first 5 minutes of office hours going through the case study, and then we're going to spend 10 minutes after that going through implementation, how you can go and do the same thing in your business to get similar results. And then, like always, we're going to open it up to Q&A, right? And we're going to go 40 minutes plus. I'll hang out as long as everyone has questions. Keep in mind, you don't need to only ask questions about the case study. You can ask questions about anything whatsoever related to Data Dive. And don't feel silly. Don't think, hey, my question's really silly. My question's really stupid. It's a complicated piece of software. It's taken me a long time to really get good, and I still don't know everything. So feel free. Any question you have, we'll answer it today. So a few important things to keep in mind. First and foremost is that calls are recorded. This is our first week that we're recording calls. If you still want to talk about something sensitive about your product or the project that you're working on, our video editor is going to take some care, and we're gonna make sure that nothing sensitive is shared. We're gonna put out a recap. I think it'll probably be ready by the weekend. What we're gonna do is we're not gonna share 3 hours of content from all office hours. We're gonna share this first section and then a consolidated version of the questions, just so you can get through them a little bit faster. Second thing is, as I always say every week, I do not know everything. I know a lot about Data Dive, but like I said, it's a very complicated piece of software. So if there's something that I don't know the answer to, I'll just be honest and I'll tell you. And then what I'll do is I'll ask someone on the team, ask Brandon, ask our CTO, Florin, and then I'll follow up with you directly. Last but not least is we have a knowledge base coming soon. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Those are going to be written guides, which kind of break down everything so you can go and use Data Dive with more effectiveness. So let's jump into the essentials. This is the overview of the case study. Basically what happened here is this was an Inner Circle student. For those of you who don't know, Inner Circle is our private coaching community. We've got a college level course in there. And he posted into our Facebook group, and he also reached out to Brandon that he was using Data Dive to optimize an existing brand. And basically through just changing his title alone was able to see some really big gains in his product. Now, I'm going to walk through a little bit of the process that he used. Worth noting that he did about 1.5 months of prep work prior to making the title change, and that's what really helped this to be quite successful. So another just very quick overview of the case study. You're going to see the actual screenshots in just a minute. But basically, here we go. Here we were about 1.5 months ago. These sales sticking around 1,000 units. I mean, $1,000 in terms of daily sales, and was working to optimize the listing, do some pricing changes. And then about 1 week ago, after only changing the title, maximizing for ranking juice, now has bumped up those sales to over $2,000 a day. Really great. Right, with very, very small amount of work in regards to the title change. So the key insights here is that this seller only made changes to the title of the listing, right? He did not change the bullets, description, subject matter. It was only changes to the title. Once he changed the title, the increase in sales, and you're going to see this on the screenshot on the next page, the increase in sales was almost instant, right? What's really important to know about what this seller did, though, is the reason this was able to be so successful is because he took prior actions onto the account, right? So he did things like updating the listing, doing some changes with pricing. And basically what happened is over this period of 1.5 months, this seller was accumulating positive history, but because he hadn't had certain keywords in exact forms in his title, he had yet to unlock the keyword potential, right? And so I'm going to walk into this a little bit more in just a minute, but those are the key insights. So these are actual screenshots. We just added a before and after onto this. But basically what you can see here is prior to when the change was made, some days that are pretty high, right? But on average, sitting at around $1,000 a day in terms of daily sales. Then he makes the change to the title and bam, right? Here we are, $2,000 a day, consistently over that with some days much, much larger. right? Here's another one that's comparing the units ordered and then the ordered product sales. Again, you see a very distinct change here, right? We're sitting around a very consistent average, and then bam, we make the title change and it jumps up, right? Low average, and then bam, it jumps up. So now we're going to jump into implementation, how you can try to achieve some similar results here. So one thing that I want to say, first thing, most important thing, is you want to ensure that the listing performance is high, right? So a lot of what made this case study successful is, like I said, prior to actually changing the title, this seller had been making a lot of changes, right? He was testing pricing, he was updating the listing, he was changing the images, right? And so what happened during this period of about a month and a half, right, before he made this title change, is he was accumulating all of this positive history, right? All of these positive sales. But because he didn't have the important keywords in exact form in the title, right? We talk about these keywords in your MKL as all of these individual bank accounts. He was accumulating credit into these bank accounts, but because he wasn't getting the correct ranking credit in the title, right? He had yet to unlock that potential, right? So really important is all of your results are going to be amplified if your listing performance is high. The second thing is that this seller focused on main keyword roots. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do this today, right, in the roots section. But basically, when he wrote his title, the most important thing for him was covering the main keyword roots with the highest search volume, right, with the largest aggregate search volume. And he literally just put those in exact forms in the title. Then what he did is he optimized that title based on ranking juice. And then the last thing that I'm going to say, I had a call with this seller last week to walk through the case study. He showed me the screenshots and walked me through exactly what he did. He told me that he is a very risk-prone individual, right? So he had no issues with changing all of his title all at once, right? And in this case, it worked out very well, right? Instantly saw a big increase in sales. Now, on the other side of the equation, we had a seller inside of our Inner Circle group on Facebook last week, right? And they were saying that they changed their entire title, and it actually had the opposite effect, right? It went down. The good news, though, is that he said that after he reverted to his old title, right, he was able to recover, right, within just a matter of days. So the thing that I really want to drive home here is that when it comes to implementing this strategy, first and foremost is try changing one word at a time, right? Rather than changing the entire title, rather than scrapping everything from scratch, right? Try changing one word at a time, see what the change in keyword, organic keyword rank is. And if it goes up, right, keep going. If it goes down, you can always revert back, right? The good news, though, is what I really want to drive home is everything in regards to the Amazon algorithm is based on historical performance. So as you can imagine, if you're a little bit more risk prone, sure, you can change your entire title and it might go up, right? If you have the performance to justify it and you're not indexed for the correct keywords, you can see massive gains. But at the same time, right, if you do the wrong thing, it can go down. The good news, though, is as long as you don't leave that bad title up day after day after day after day after day, right, and you're not accumulating all this negative history, it's going to be pretty easy to bounce back from. So just keep that in mind, right? You can change everything all at once. You might see bigger gains, but you also might see bigger losses. Brandon was speaking in Vegas this week, and he made a really good point, right? Only 3 things are going to happen when you try to change your listing. It's either going to go up, it's either going to go down, or it's going to remain flat, right? So yeah, just keep that in mind. So what I really want to drive home is it's really that simple. I've been getting on demo calls with Data Dive users for the past year. I'm talking hundreds of calls. And the biggest thing that I hear is that people, they get comfortable with using Data Dive, right? But then when it actually comes to changing their title, they're very nervous. They're like, what if this crashes my listing? What if it goes really bad? You have to try something. And so the point of this case study and the point of this workshop today in office hours is to just get you to try something. In North America office hours earlier this week, we had 2 people that tried changes on their listing. And I just want to tell you what happened, right? Just so you know, it's not this black hole of who knows what's going to happen, right? It's very reasonable scenarios of what is going to happen. So one woman who changed her title, what she saw that, okay, the keyword rank increased, right? But it only increased a little bit and then it leveled off. And she's like, okay, well, what do I do from here? Well, at that point, you did see an increase. That's really good, right? And so now Amazon is kind of recalculating where your correct organic position should be. And then the reason it levels off is because that's where she deserves to be, right? That's where that product deserves to be. And so the answer to how do you increase your organic rank from there? Well, the only thing you can do is increase the performance of your listing, right? So increase your click-through rate, increase your conversion rate, or increase revenue, right? Drive more sales to the product through PPC. Another woman, she was explaining that she had changed titles on 10 of her listings, right? And what she found is that one of the listings went up and the other 9, they went down a little bit. So what's the correct strategy? How do you move on from there? Well, obviously the one that did well, you're going to keep that title. The ones that went down, you can revert to another title, or you can try changing and try a different keyword, try a different set of keyword roots, and always increase the performance of the listing. So I think this is a good time. We're going to jump into not Q&A yet. I'm going to show you guys how to do it in terms of implementation. So let me just pull up Amazon. Okay. All right, so I've just been doing dives all day here at Prosper. So let me clear out my tray. See, it's probably a garlic press that's already in there. Oh, this is like anyway, I can't tell you that product. It's really cool seeing everyone's products, but definitely can't share them. So what are we doing here? So let's look, I'm gonna show everyone, this is gonna be a common question that we're gonna get in office hours. How do I start a dive? So I'm gonna start with that and we're gonna do a good old garlic press. So I've just typed in my hero keyword into the search results. Now remember, 2 different ways that you can start a dive. Way number 1 is I click down here, right, on the extension button, and this is going to launch Divebox, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select my first, 15 plus competitors. And really important to note is that our UI did just change. I will say the internet here in this hotel leaves a little bit to be desired, so it's a little slow. If you're doing this at home with a strong internet connection, not in a hotel, you're going to find that this is going to load a lot faster. I've been enjoying this all day. So we'll just give it a minute here. Yeah. All right, I'm going to read these chats. Let's see where, oh, cool. Okay. No need to stall anymore. So I'm not going to spend time going through these dashboards at the top, but what I am going to do is I'm going to show you that the toggle button has moved. Now there's just this checkbox on the left-hand side. I'm going to create a new niche. Right? And then I'm just going to, this is real slow. Right? As I click on the checkbox now, you're going to see the number of selected ASINs is increasing, right? I'm going to try to make sure that everything you're selecting here is actually a garlic press, right? You don't want to include like a dog bed with a garlic press. You're going to click these checkboxes. I'm going to try to get 15 of those, and then I'm going to click dive, right? Then it's going to pull that research and it's going to take me to the master keyword list. The other way that you can start a dive is you can add things to your ASIN tray. And the way that you're going to do that is you're going to click this little plus icon down below. Remember, the advantage of adding to your ASIN tray is I'm not just limited to the products that are showing up here on this first page of search results. I can actually go and I could click into this subcategory for kitchen utensils and gadgets and see if there's anything else that I want to add on. If I have, let's say, a listing that's just launched, right? Like, let's say it's my product and I just launched it and I'm not showing up in search results yet, or I'm very low, I can manually put in that ASIN, click on the plus, and then add it to the cart. You're going to notice that I'm not including any sponsored results. I only want to get like the top 15 plus organically ranked competitors, right? Because those people, they're going to have the best performance for these keywords, right? So those are the ones that I'm going to want to focus on. So after I've gone through and clicked a bunch of these check boxes, I think I've got at least 15 now. So I'm going to open up the Data Dive Chrome extension, which I believe is here. Just have it blocked behind the Zoom box. And then I click over to my ASIN tray, and then I'm going to see all of these ASINs here. It looks like I have 24 ASINs selected. I'm going to create a new niche, and I'm going to call this Garlic Press AP Office Hours for Asia Pacific Office Hours. And then I'm going to click Dive. All right, so right now it is researching these 24 ASINs. It is going to pull in all of the keywords that are driving sales for this product. And then what we're going to do, right, we've shown this in other office hours, but I want to show you how quickly you can go through and start to make changes, impactful changes that can dramatically impact your sales. And so what we're going to do to get there is first, we're going to clean up our master keyword list, right? Once the master keyword list is cleaned up, we're going to look at outlier keywords. We're going to see if there's any extra keywords that we want to add in, right? Then we're going to go to our roots. We're going to identify what our top roots are for this product, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to go into the listing builder and we're going to go and create a new title. So let me go to my master keyword list. All right, here we are. And I've been working on a big monitor all day, so I'm going to have to make this a little bit smaller. Awesome. Cool. So everyone, right now we're starting off here. We are in our master keyword list, or MKL. And like it's showing us, we have 490 different ways that people are searching for the product in this niche. I'm going to filter here by search volumes, that the largest search volume keywords are at the top. And remember, this is a dirty keyword list, so I don't want to do any analysis before I first clean up the list. And remember, we have to do two things to clean up our MKL. We have to eliminate any branded search terms, and then we have to eliminate any keywords that are not relevant to the product that we're trying to sell. So I'm going to click on this B button here on the left-hand side, and it's telling me that there's 50 keywords that it thinks are branded search terms. So I'm just going to come down this list real quick, and I'm going to make sure these are all branded search terms, which it looks to be. All right. And in the interest of time, I'm just going to trust it. Now, keep in mind, the B button for removing branded search terms is not always going to get everything, right? So I'm still going to take a second pass at this list, and I'm going to get rid of any keywords that are still branded or that are not relevant to what we're selling, which in this case is a garlic press. So all of these look good. Garlic press rocker. This is a question that I had earlier. I think this is actually a little bit different of a product, but I'm going to keep that in there for right now. This is the Spanish translation. See, here it missed this one, Pampered Chef. That is a brand name, so I'm going to remove that. This is another Pampered Chef. I don't know what that is, but I think that's Cracula. That's a branded search term. Zule is a branded search term. I think Garjet is probably a branded search term. So I'm already down to 165 search volume. So for the sake of this and moving quickly, I'm just going to remove these 8 keywords from my master keyword list. And I'm going to say that's cleaned up. Now, obviously, you're going to want to go and actually clean up your entire master keyword list, right? But I'm just trying to do this a little bit fast right here. So let's just assume right now that one of these brands is ours. I've been using Zule all day, so I'm just going to keep using Zule. This is a Thrasio brand, so they're actually doing quite well here. This is a pretty good model. But look, here's what we have here, right? We're looking and we're seeing, okay, they're ranked number 2 for garlic press, number 1 for garlic mincer. But look what's happening here for garlic peeler. They're ranked in position 80, whereas some of these other brands like this one is ranked in position 14. So this is going to be one of my first things that I'm looking at, like, hey, this has 12,000 search volume for this niche. Have they written garlic peeler in an exact form into their title? And if we would add garlic peeler in, right, could we take that from being in position 80? That's like midway through page 2. Could we move that up? And could we also be in position 14 like this seller over here, right? The whole point of this is that Zule is killing it, right? They're doing really well and they're dominating this niche, but they still could be doing better, right? So we have garlic peeler here. We have garlic press rocker here. I think that's relevant. What do we have here? Garlic twister. It seems like we're missing out on. And then garlic press stainless steel. I'm just going to assume Zule is our brand because we actually know the folks from Zule. And they actually told us that theirs is not made out of stainless steel. It's made out of aluminum. So in this case, because that's not actually what we're selling, then I wouldn't put that in the title, right? Because it's not a stainless steel garlic press. So I'm going to actually remove that from the master keyword list. All right, cool. So now I've got a pretty clear idea of what I'd want to try to focus on here. I'm going to move over to the outlier keywords just to see, are there any other keywords that I want to add in here that I'm kind of missing out on that would be good to include here. And right now I have my outlier minimum search volume pretty high. I'm going to drop this down to like, I don't know, 500. Let's see if I can get a few more keywords because right now I only have 11. And I'm just going to come here and see, okay, like garlic chopper, I think it's not quite the same thing. So I'm not going to include it for the sake of this case study. Though here's what I always like to tell people is like, see here, Zulay, once you're ranked for like 90+% of the keywords and you're dominating that original master keyword list, I think there's still a few things that they need to focus on in here. But the thing I'm going to ask myself is like, okay, this might not be a garlic chopper per se, but it does a very similar function in the end, right? Like you're basically breaking up garlic to use for cooking. So, right, there's obviously other sellers here that ranked in position 12, 13, 11. And what I got to be asking myself, anytime I see things in like the 30+ range, what could be happening here is Amazon thinks that this product is relevant to a garlic chopper, but it can't quite tell. So if I would go rewrite garlic chopper into my listing in an exact form, could I move up from 37 to be like, 11 or 10 or even a lower single digit number? And because this search volume is so high, like 13,000, man, how much would you like to be in like position 1 or 2 for this 13,000 search volume versus being in position 37, right? It's not going to lead to as many sales there, not lead to as many impressions. So I can go and drop this back in. I'm going to add this to my master keyword list. If I was Thrasio, if I was Zulay, I might try to actually go in and optimize for that. Again, it's a little bit loose. And if you're just starting out and you're launching, like I don't think I would include garlic chopper in my title from launch, right? It's probably a little bit too outside of what we're selling for me to be satisfied with that. But when you're ranked for 92% of the keywords, right now you can start to say, all right, well, we're already doing well on everything. Could I start to expand my range, expand what I'm showing for a little bit more? All right, so now this is our master keyword list. I feel confident that this is a very good set of keywords, right? And so just strategy in terms of what I'm trying to optimize for an existing brand, right? I'm going to be like, okay, no room to improve here, no room to improve here. I definitely want to see, can we put garlic chopper in my title? Can we put garlic peeler in my title? Can we put garlic twister in my title? And so if you can do this in one of two ways. You can try to identify these from the master keyword list, what your target should be, but where you should really go is to your roots tab. And for those of you who don't know, or this is really important to reinforce because the whole basis of how Data Dive works is all based on roots. And when we're talking about a root, what that means is that is 2 or more words, which is a unique way that people are searching for the product. So the reason that we need to have garlic press in an exact form in our listing is because we're not just curious about the words garlic and press. Garlic press is a root which includes 172 individual keywords with a broad search volume of 99,000, right? And you can see all of those keywords here. When we add garlic press in an exact form into our title, we get credit for all of these keywords, all of these keywords, all of these keywords, right? Same thing with garlic mincer. I'm going to uncheck this. That's going to be our next root here, right? Garlic mincer is a root which includes 25 keywords with a broad search volume of 33,000, right? So when we have garlic mincer in our title in an exact form, right, we're going to get credit for mincer, and our rank for mincer is going to go up with performance, but our rank for all of these other keywords is going to go up as well. You got to start thinking of how the algorithm works is it looks as roots, right? It's trying to identify clusters of keywords that it can group things together, right? And as your rank improves for one of them, as you get performance, sales, conversions, clicks with these, and you have these keywords in your title, it's going to have this halo effect to all of these other keywords, right? So I'm going to just click and I'm going to help you identify just so you can visually see kind of how my brain is working. I'm going to identify all of the roots here just by clicking them, just so you can see them. So garlic press, a root. Garlic mincer is a root. Garlic chopper is a root. Garlic peeler is a root. Garlic crusher is a root. These are all 2 or more words that are unique ways of describing this product, right? Stainless. This is a common question we'll get is like, is chopper a root? Is peeler a root? No, right? Because no one's searching peeler to find your product. They're going to search garlic peeler. No one's going to search stainless. No one's going to search stainless steel. they might search state. I really should go through and probably remove these as well, right? Because we identified that our product specifically is made of aluminum, not stainless steel. I could remove those if I wanted, right? These are Spanish translations, but we're going to keep going. Garlic twister is the root. Mincer tool might be a root. Stainless steel garlic press. I really have to remove these, but we're just going to keep moving here. Garlic press rocker. This is a Spanish translation. This should be removed. I think I can remove exclude exact. So if I right click on something, I can actually exclude it. So it'll remove that there. I should have excluded the phrase, but that's okay. All right, so I've given you a bunch of roots here. As you can see here, this is another thing that I want to mention. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I could keep going. There's probably like 10 or 15, maybe 10 or more roots for this garlic press. What I really want to reinforce, though, is some people are saying, well, should I really include garlic press and garlic mincer? What if I want to try to target these roots that are lower down, right? And they have, maybe they'll have less competition. But what you have to really look at, what's really driving our decision-making process here is this broad search volume. So while there are all of these other ways that people call a garlic press, the most common, as you can see, almost 75% of the search volume for this niche are going to come from these two roots, garlic press and garlic mincer. And so when we inspect throughout this Zulay, their title in just a minute, you're going to see that they have really focused on making sure garlic press and garlic mincer are in there. Everything else is kind of secondary for them. So let's go now over to the listing builder. We've got a good idea of what our roots are. Let me show you how to actually get this done in the real world. So I'm going to pull up this listing here, and I'm going to copy their title. And just like I said in the beginning, in the intro, I'm going to show you guys as if I was doing a very conservative title change where I'm just going to try to change a few words, right? And then I'm going to show you, like, if you were launching a product, how you would go and potentially create a brand new title from scratch. So right here, I can see I'm getting exact credit for garlic press, exact credit for garlic mincer, no credit for chopper or peeler, and no credit for twister. So if I wanted to just try one word at a time, they're already at 194 out of 200 characters. So I'm just going to ask myself, like, okay, what can I remove from this title that's not giving me ranking credit? Like, what's something in the title that people are not searching for? And then how can I try to get one of these keywords just to start within the first 150 characters of my title? And ideally, I want to try to put it as early in my title as possible. So here we have Zulay kitchen. Like, right off the bat, I didn't see much search volume for Zulay kitchen. I mean, I think the brand name Zulay is enough. So I'd probably just get rid of Zulay. And I think that's going to give me enough that if I wanted to do that. But Zulay garlic press with soft, easy to squeeze ergonomic handle. I'm just going to get rid of easy to squeeze. I'm just going to call it ergonomic handle, right? So I've already given myself probably enough characters without dramatically changing their title. And what I like about this title is it's actually very readable. It's not just keyword stuffed. So we have a garlic press with soft ergonomic handle. We have garlic mincer. We don't need tool on there. I could probably take garlic mincer tool. I think that's just, again, to make it a little bit more readable. Garlic mincer with, sturdy design, extracts. So what I would probably do, because my rank for mincer is so high, is I'd probably try to put garlic chopper. Get rid of tool. So garlic chopper, garlic peeler. This is more than one word, but you can see here I can click off. It's going to recalculate this, and now the only thing I'm missing out on twister. Like, if I wanted to add in more here, I could get rid of like the color. I could get rid of a bunch of things. But you can see here, right? This would be a really easy way to start. I've actually added in garlic chopper and garlic peeler, so I've added in 2 new keywords. But you can see here too that I'm just going to, just for a second, I'm just going to delete that. And you can see I'm at 81 characters, right? So this is well within my first 150. If I wanted to really see, can I start increasing my rank for garlic peeler and garlic chopper? That would be a really easy way to do it without dramatically changing the title, and it's still very, very readable, right? I'm going to pause right there for a second. That's literally all I would do. I would take that title and I would put it into Amazon and I would see, right, within a few hours, within a day, does my rank for garlic peeler go from 80 to be like 15? That's going to be a big win. That's money in the bank, right? This product is already converting, right? It's already getting a good click-through rate. If you move from position 80 for 12,000 search volume and you, well, I don't know if it's 12,000, but 13,000. So this is like a combined search volume of like 25,000, right? So if I can move from position 80 or not indexed at all to be in position 10 or even better, position 1 or 2, those are going to be real sales. Those are going to be real sales that I'm getting every single day just with some really quick changes to the title. Now, it might not work. It might go from position 80 down. It might de-index me, but I have a strong feeling because the performance of this listing is so high that it actually could work out quite well. So I'm going to delete this whole thing right now. I would upload that. If I was building it from scratch, it's going to clear out everything. It's going to clear out my hits. I would just be like, you know, Anthony, I'm going to call my new brand name for a garlic press, Anthony GP, AGP, Anthony's Garlic Press. And then I would just literally start typing garlic press, garlic mincer. I probably wouldn't make my brand name AGP if the first words after are going to be garlic press, but I'll keep going. Garlic chopper, garlic peeler, garlic crusher. Right now, obviously, this is just a stuff keyword title, right? So I'm going to try to make it a little bit more readable if I can. We were having some questions earlier today in the European office hours, like how do you walk the line between a readable title and, you know, just keyword stuffing? And I think we should be all moving into the direction of having a more readable title. When you're launching, you just kind of have to use all the characters and you want to be indexed for a wide range. When you get to that Zule's, you know, level and you're like very strong, you're ranked for 90% of the keywords, right? Then you can take a little bit more liberties in terms of adding in more words. But you can see here, I'm getting like good root coverage. I could add in some like stuff about the handle, you know, garlic press, like easy to use. I'm not great at copywriting on the spot. So I think next week's topic is going to be how to write a title without keyword stuffing. Garlic mincer or delicious foods. I don't know. I'm just like trying to make this whatever, right? I could change this to commas, whatever. So there I'm at 113. That's where I'm going to wrap up, right? I'm getting like good keyword root coverage here, right? Last thing that I want to show you is I'm going to clear this one more time. If you're just starting off, you can kind of see what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to cover things that have the highest search volume. I'm trying to get exact forms in the title until I'm using up my character count. Now, if you're just starting off here, right, you can click this button. We just added it recently for optimized ranking juice. You can decide how much of your character count you want to fill. I'm going to drop this down to like, I don't know, 60%. So I'm at 120 out of 200 characters. That's going to give me some space to put in some things that are a little bit more readable. Like that's like 30 characters of filler words. And then I'm going to click confirm. You can see I've selected the title, bullets, description, search term, subject matter. I'm going to click confirm. And then look at this, guys, like magic. It's going to automatically build me a title optimizing for ranking juice. You can see here in the leaderboard now, my title is going to have the highest ranking juice compared to everyone else. And what it's done is it's got me the essential keywords and it's placed them in here, right? And so this is a really good starting point. Don't go and upload this into your listing if you're launching. Don't launch with this as your bullet points. But this is a really good way to start, right? And you can make this a little bit more readable. So you're seeing that I'm getting good root coverage here in my title. Then it moves on to prioritize bullet points, right? Then it moves on to prioritize description, right? And this actually does build out your description, your search terms, and your subject matter. But right now, at the moment, we don't track hits for that. I think it's because title, bullets, description, this is going to be most weight, less weight, less weight. So these are just what we're prioritizing, right? There was something else I was going to show you. Oh, yeah. You guys don't have this button yet, but you will soon. Right now, obviously, like I'm saying, you're not going to want to upload this into Amazon, right? You're going to want to make it a little bit more readable. But coming very, very soon for you guys, you're going to see this AI bullets button. And when you click it, it's actually going to use ChatGPT to write the bullets in the voice of the customer who's buying the product. I've used it a few times. It's actually quite good, and it's only going to keep getting better. So, right, I want to encourage everyone to learn how to do this themselves. Don't rely just on the optimized ranking juice button. Practice doing this manually and then use the optimized ranking juice button, and it's going to help you out. that's where we're going to open it up for questions. What we're going to do, like always, is we're going to prioritize anyone who has their hand raised. And then we're going to go through the chat Q&A. So if you want to raise your hand and ask a question, we're going to answer those ones first, and then we're going to jump and I'll start answering the chat questions. Keep in mind, your question does not have to be about this case study. Okay, I don't know if we're going to have anyone to raise their hand, so I'm going to start going through the chat Q&A. All right, hello. Tim, coming in from Sydney. Thanks for joining, Tim. Zahid from Queensland. Thanks so much for joining. All right. Graham, Gold Coast. I'm so excited to get back to Australia. I'm excited to meet all you guys face to face. I hope to see you at Southern Seller Fest. We got someone from Melbourne, Panama, but traveling in New Zealand. That's Tammy. All right. We got Hildy is here. Okay. It looks like Tim has a question. So Tim, if you want to take yourself off mute, we'll take that question right now. What's up?
Anthony, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Oh, I hope I can hear you. Let's see. Hold on. All right. I think my volume was just down. You want to try? I don't know.
Can you hear me?
I can now. Perfect.
Hey, Anthony, how's it going?
It's going well. How about yourself?
Good, thank you. Very good presentation. I think my question is unrelated to that, though. So I'm looking at my MKL here, and where it's got sales per ASIN, that sales figure, that's a monthly, and is that a sum of like all the variations that might be under that ASIN?
That's a good question. I actually don't know. I think it does loop in all of the variations, because before, what I've done is I accidentally, when I'm pulling the competitors, you know how I have like the editorial recommendations, I didn't realize for a minute that those were sponsored. So I actually ended up duplicating. I had like the main variation and then a different variation. And when it showed me the data, both the master keyword list and then all of the metrics was exactly the same. So I'm 90% sure that it rolls up everything to the parent ASIN. So there's no need to add in additional variations. I think it is a sum total of all of the children underneath the parent.
Okay. It's just that it would be good if it only did show the sales for that specific ASIN, because I'm just trying to work out for like my initial order. And if I've got like a lot of ASINs that have got like a lot of different variations, but I'm only launching one variation on launch, like, it's going to make it difficult for me to determine like how many estimated sales I should be aiming for monthly, and then therefore kind of work out what my initial order should be.
That's a good point. So you're trying to get an idea for like how, like the sales velocity of all these variations, so you can get an idea of how many products to order for a launch.
Yeah, like say if I want to order 3 months worth of stock. Yeah,
that's a good question. I'm gonna have to dig into that a little bit. I think we actually have an SOP for variations inside seller system. So let me just pull up Slack here, and I'm gonna make a note to follow up with you after. Tim Calvert variation. I think there's definitely a way to do it. It's not going to be in Data Dive, but there's a SOP that I can send you, which is like basically how to estimate sales velocity for variations. And I don't think you're going to use Data Dive to do it, but I can definitely find a way to find that for you. So
yeah, awesome. That would be great.
Okay, cool. Anything else?
That was it, I believe. But I guess the same would be with revenue. That would be total of all the variations.
It should be total for the entire any of the children underneath the parent. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All good. Okay. Awesome. No, that's it. Thanks, Anthony.
Cool. I'll follow up with that. Good question.
Okay,
all right,
cheers.
Sean, if you want to take yourself off mute, how can we help you today?
Yeah, hi there, Anthony. How are you today? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. What's up?
Today. This is a little bit off topic as well. Just a suggestion in the dive box. When I go back into redive on a previous niche, there will be some selected checkboxes on the left-hand side So I've got to scroll through and uncheck them. Is there a way of putting a button up the top so we just uncheck them in one go?
The only way, I was noticing that earlier today, and it'll kind of mess you up if you're not aware of it. It's just a different UI change. The only way that I would really suggest, I think maybe we will add. I'll send that over to the team that we should add a little check for uncheck all. But if you go and create a new niche, this should work. It's going to automatically clear it all.
Oh, will it? Okay.
So what it's doing there is like the computer is saying, oh, you've searched for a garlic press before.
Yeah.
We think that you're trying to add things to an existing niche, and so it's just trying to find which one is new. But I'll send that over to the team too. That the feedback to add in an unchecked.
I've been finding that when I go back into a particular niche, it changes over time. So that I suppose that's why there's some checked, because they're old ones, but then. They could be like a fair way down the list, so outside of the 15 or 20. So, and I want to select the new top 20. So then I go up and I select it, add them to the tray, that green cross button there. And then you can also go up into the Chrome extension up there and open that up and go into the ASIN tray and then clear all of them there, I suppose. Is that what you're talking about, where you can select all your product details?
Yeah.
You can delete it from there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I was actually doing that earlier today as well.
Yeah, just the one or two steps that maybe could be made a bit more efficient, I think. So that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, I think so. You see here, though, if you are in your ASIN tray, if this does have the checkbox above, I could remove all of these.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah, I always forget to go back in and clear that out before I do a new dive, and then I'm going. Then I've got I've got to go do it sort of manually a bit without erasing the ones I just added.
Yeah, I did that earlier today in yesterday rather, in the Berlin office hours. I did a dive that had garlic press and dog bed, which is obviously not what you want to do. So yeah, just got to be careful there. My personal preference as I'm doing this now is I do everything through the ASIN tray. There was also a question, I believe, last week is like, could you add products onto an existing niche from the ASIN tray? And a few days ago, it didn't work, but I want to let you know that like we do take the feedback because they did change it. So if I go to like AP office hours, if I wanted to like add new, well, these ones were already included, so it's they're not going to show up. But if I added new products to my ASIN tray, now I can actually click the checkbox. If these were not included previously in the dive, these are already in the niche. Right, saying that this ASIN is part of a selected niche. But if I had two new products, I could actually add straight from my ASIN tray. So I find that to be a little bit of a smoother process versus using the dive box. That's just a personal preference.
Okay, another way to explore. Yeah, there's just a few different ways of exploring, right? And
yeah, like if I
preference.
Yeah, I'll go down. I'll just show it real quick, just because this is a heavily, people ask about this a lot. I'm here on page 2. I know these have not been added to my previous niche, so I'm just going to add those to the ASIN tray, those two. Now I'm going to open up the extension, and I'm going to click on ASIN tray. I'm going to click on AP office hours. Then I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom, and then I'm going to see how I click that and that. And so now I have 2 new ASINs plus 24. And then it's also giving you that this is all new, right? See, now it's saying new. This dive, it's showing you that this is already in the niche. This is new. This is new.
Okay. Yep.
And I would click dive, and it would add those two products onto the niche.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'll give that a go. Thanks for that.
Cool.
Cheers.
Anything else?
Yeah. One little thing in the workflow area. I'm just trying to get my head around that, and I've been able to work out how to label. After I've done a dive, and I've determined that that keyword is rejected or fail it or whatever. So I've learned how to label it, or if I want to research it further, I can select research to remind me to research it later. So
yeah, are you talking about this, like the label?
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So and then I suppose the best way of using this, am I using it correctly? That's what I'm trying to ask, I suppose, and there's probably things I don't know about it. And also the spaces section, I'm not sure what that's all about.
Yep. Okay. So let me explain that. And I'm really awesome. I'm really stoked to hear. These are part of our enterprise tools. We decided to give everyone access. So highly encourage you to start using them. Sean, is kudos to you, man. So let me explain the difference between spaces and labels. Spaces are basically, these are like if you wanted to break open different product portfolios, right? So if I had like multiple brands, I could like put these into spaces, right? So
okay,
right, you can have spaces like, yeah, so that's how you use spaces, right? And then labels, these are going to be more related to where something is along a workflow, right? And so by default, we give you this sample workflow, right? And so ideally what you're going to do is you're going to actually, I'm going to go back into the actual research here, and you'll see here up at the top, you can actually add a space or label. So I should actually start doing this just as a habit. I'd have to go back into label management to do this, but I'll start creating one for office hours. So now I could drop this into my portfolio of product for office hours. Then I could add this to my workflow, and I could say, okay, this is in research, right? Or maybe if I was doing the PPC module, I could be like, okay, for this brand actually, and you can assign multiple labels. You can only assign one space per niche, but labels you can assign multiple. Okay. So if I wanted to say, okay, I'm in research, or this brand is doing really, really well. So we can say this is in like the, okay, we were in the maintenance phase, but now we're trying to actually expand and try to increase our rank for garlic mincer, garlic chopper. I could add this to growth. And the reason that you want to do this is most people are not using this yet. Let's see. So now you can see these labels are on here.
Yes.
If you're working with teams, the niche pipeline, not many people are using this yet, but if I go over from the table view into the board view, this should look very similar to like Trello, Asana. And so now as I move things around, right, I can move, let's see, I'm going to have to go to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
I'm going to have to select that.
I'm using the niche pipeline. I'm trying to keep it all organized. And when I'm product researching, I know which ones that I've rejected. So I'm not looking at the same ones again. And I'm adding notes in there as well to say, the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, and so you can kind of see here, like for some of these, I've filled out the product scorecard. It's going to have all of your information all in one spot. If you're working with a larger team, you can start to delegate. Like you can see these are all assigned to me. This is assigned to a copywriter. And so now as I move things through, I can like drag things around. I can move them into different flows. And so I think in the future, I don't even use that this much. It's very new. But I think in the future, everyone is probably you're probably not going to use the list view for the niche pipeline. Everyone's probably going to move into the board view. I anticipate.
Right, okay. Well, that's the first time I've seen someone use the board view. So that's interesting. And that just makes sense. I was clicking on it going, what am I supposed to do here? I don't know. So I've been using the list because I've been able to work that out. But I'll play with it now that you've got that. So that's connected because of, so let me get it right. So a space is say, so I could be with the principal and I've got my space. And then if I've got someone, a partner, then they can have their space as well and work under that. And then we can share those different spaces or brands or even just down to products, right? Like,
exactly.
Break it right.
Yeah, exactly. And it also has to do with access management. Like spaces can be shared across multiple users. I mean, labels you can share across multiple users. You can't restrict access on labels, but you can restrict access on spaces. So if you say like, hey, I only want, or maybe I have that wrong. I'll get it right by next week.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I think I know what you mean. Yeah. Well, it could be the space, right? Because if you want working on that your own sort of area, you don't want anyone to look at it. So yeah, okay. But no, thanks for that. I'll definitely explore further there. And thanks for answering my questions.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sean. All right, everyone, I'm going to keep going through the other questions in the chat. If anyone else has a question, feel free to raise your hand. We'll answer those first. All right, Hildy, welcome back. How's it going? So we've got a PPC questions, please. When using DataDive for loading PPC for broad and phrase, does it automatically include negative exact search term? Okay, what is the bulk sheet used for? How does the default bid relate to the bid value? Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to try to answer as much as I can there. I will say I'm not an expert when it comes to PPC, but I will do my best. So let's pull, I just want to go into this research. So there we go. So let me pull up that question again because there's a few questions there. Stop sharing. So When using DataDive for loading PPC for broad and phrase, does it automatically include negative exact? I want to see if I can answer this, but when you're in PPC keywords, a lot of people don't know this. After you import your master keyword list, it's not going to show you any negative campaigns by default. You have to click over here into the columns, and then you see how here it has manual negatives. If I check that, it's going to show me all the manual negatives. And then I can also put in the broad campaign negatives and the auto campaign negatives. And so now after showing those, by default, those are hidden. Now those are actually going to be brought in. So we'll see if that answers that. I'm going to move on to the next one. So does it automatically include? I don't think you're going to see those in the master keyword list. I think you have to toggle that. That's the default setting. I don't know why. It's just what Florin, our CTO, told me. What is the bulk sheet used for? So I'm going to go back to sharing the screen. So you have two options for when you're uploading your research, right? Like once I go through and I select what campaigns that I want to include, what keywords I want to include in which campaigns, and I set my parameters, I have two different ways that I can actually get these PPC campaigns to Amazon. The most custom way, right? This is the only way that you used to be able to do it in the past, is that you would actually make a bulk sheet. So down here you have generate bulk sheet and you can select the format. I believe the reason people still prefer sometimes to do the bulk sheet is because it gives you a lot more ability to modify, right? You get the bulk sheet, you can make changes in the bulk sheet, and then you can upload that bulk sheet to Amazon. Versus if you connect your PPC account, right, and you send the campaigns directly to Amazon, DataDive at the present moment doesn't give you any ability to modify those campaigns, right? So if you would want to like modify or change those campaigns, your only real option would be to delete the campaigns in Seller Central, come back into DataDive, create new campaigns, and then send them out. So if you have like the bulk sheet, then I think you can modify those. Some people have processes and workflows for bulk sheets. If you're like an OG PPC person, they tend to like that customization. Like I was on a call today with an agency based out of France, and they're like, yeah, I love that you can push the PPC campaigns, but our team, we all prefer using bulk sheets because they're PPC experts. So I hope that answers that. Let me go through and answer the last question here. How does the default bid relate to bid value? I don't know if I actually know the answer to that. Let me see. So PPC keywords. Oh, that's in the campaign settings. Let's see. So we have the default bid. And maybe, Hildy, if you type into the chat, it might be on the next page on the PPC campaigns for launch. So we have the ad group default bid. So it must be on the next one on PPC campaigns for launch. Let's see. Okay, let's check out parameters. So I see the default bid. Let me open up the chat real quick. Am I missing something here, Hildy? I see the default bid, but I don't see bid value.
Yeah, the bid value was on the other sheet. Just go. Oh, I've lost you now.
Yep.
Oh, there you go. So go back to where all the values are. Like it gives you the bid range value.
Okay.
So if you go to PPC campaigns.
Okay. Oh, here.
Yeah, right. See how you've got suggested bid, and then you can choose if you want to go to the lower bid range or the high bid range, and it'll probably load up the dollar amount that you're going to bid for that keyword.
Yep.
So that's quite different to the ad group default bid. So what is the ad group default bid, and how does it relate to what you're actually bidding?
I got to plug in I'll follow up with you and we'll cover that in the next office hours. I don't feel confident answering that question. I'll just be honest. But let me dig into that. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. then that question relating to if I wanted to upload my broaden phrase campaigns straight into Amazon from Data Dive, it surely would negate the exact search terms. It's because they're in the download sheet, right? The bulk download.
Yep.
They're in that. I had a look at that. The if you download the bulk sheet to generate the bulk sheet, like that's got a heap of stuff in it, which would have the negative, negative exacts that you would put into your broaden phrase campaigns. So if I'm not uploading my campaigns with a bulk sheet, but just sending it straight from Data Dive, I imagine it's doing that in the background.
Like taking into account the current campaigns that you're running on Amazon?
Yeah, so if I'm creating a new broad campaign and loading it into Seller Central from Data Dive, then I would want to negate all my exact search terms as a negative exact.
Like, I think you would just want to turn off the existing campaigns if they're going to be replaced by a new one.
Yeah.
I'm
good.
I'm going to be honest, Cindy. I'm going to have to follow up on that one. I'll follow up with you on both.
Yeah. All good. And look, I'll link in with Brandon through the week as well, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. Just wanted to confirm. All good.
Guys, I'm just not a PPC expert. I'm learning this for the first time. Even on my own brands, my business partner always ran that. But if you want to ask an Inner Circle as well, I'll nudge and I'll follow up with Brandon. Sorry about that.
I'll do that. And the other thing with the Roots tab, it would be good if you could delete roots in bulk, because if you're, sometimes you can have like 30 roots that are just not applicable. Those words just are not wanted. I had to go through and remove each one individually. Like I highlighted the tick box, but
I can show you something cool here that I think you're going to like. So let's say I want to get rid of everything related to stainless steel, because I see stainless steel and I know that we're aluminum. What I can do is I can right click, I can click exclude phrase, and then it should, let's see if it does it. Now it's gotten rid of everything that includes the word stainless in it, right?
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yes, but if I had 20 single words that I did not want, how would you delete more than one root at a time?
Let me see if it works. Like if I was going to click.
Say like vampire, you got vampire there.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no, because you've highlighted a few already, right? So you'd have to.
Yeah, I know that I think I can, like if I do this, that's going to be the whole list. Yeah, I think only with filtering. That's a good question, right? Like if I was going to, I'll put that in for feedback if you wanted to like bulk delete. Because I think if I right click this, it's just going to be for this phrase. So that's good. That's good feedback. That's an easy UI change.
Be able to bulk delete.
Yep.
Yeah.
From Roots. Okay, that's really good feedback.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll follow up on those PPC questions. All right, if anyone else has a question, feel free to raise their hand. I'm going to keep going through. Really good questions there, Hildy. Thank you so much. We're going to get that bulk delete. We'll see if we can get that through quick. Okay, last question. It looks like here, if you have any more, feel free to drop them in the chat. But Zahid is asking, hi, mate, really nice presentation. Thank you so much. They're going to get better and better every week. And sorry for the time change. It'll be perfect next week. Number one, I need to learn how to optimize PPC by using the Data Dive, and we can keep optimizing the PPC. Maybe for another day, we dig into it and explain. Okay, so so you want to learn PPC more. Last week's office hours, the topic was PPC. That was not recorded. This is the first week that we're recording. So I think what I'm going to do is I think for next week, I'm probably going to do a deeper dive. I'm getting a lot better every week. Brandon and Jennifer gave me access. They're like, hey, this is our small account. You can play around with it. And this account does $2 million. Like, it's insane. So I'm learning a lot more. I'm getting a lot better every day. So I think probably next week, I'll probably repeat and do a topic on PPC secrets. And then that one will be recorded. We'll put it on YouTube after. And so we'll all learn a little bit. I'm going to dig into Hildy's questions as well and really make sure I understand the answers to those. So that is a good way to start out. It's only going to be probably 15, 20 minutes of teaching. So if you're still interested in learning more about PPC, if you're not already in Inner Circle, that's our coaching community. A few people here are inside of it. Consider checking it out. At the end of the month, we're going to have a PPC masterclass. It's going to be like about 2 to 3 hours long. If you like this presentation, it's going to be slides to that level. And it's not going to be taught by me. It's going to be taught by Brandon. Brandon Young, he's the guy who created this tool with many other members of our team. And, consider checking that out. It's going to be really, really good. And then second question here is, can we link more than one accounts to Data Dive specifically for PPC purposes? I believe that you can. That was actually a question I got as well today during I was doing a demo with this agency. I'm gonna make a note here to follow up on that as well. I believe that you can connect multiple PPC accounts, but I'm gonna make a note here to connecting multiple PPC accounts. What I'd say is try connecting multiple accounts. I think that's why it gives you the drop down to toggle between Seller Central and PPC accounts when you're deciding where to push the campaigns. But I'll follow up on that. I need to also make an action item to connect our PPC account. I have my Seller Central on here, but put our PPC account in as well so I can start playing around with like those bid prices. All right, Debbie saying, thanks, Anthony. A PPC masterclass using Data Dive would be awesome. And the weekly office hours is so helpful. I really appreciate that, Debbie. I'm glad you're getting good value out of it. Okay, yeah, Zahid, you're already part of Inner Circle. So yeah, there's going to be a brand new PPC masterclass that's coming out. It's going to be at the end of the month. I think it's scheduled for the 27th. Don't quote me on that. I have to double check. But it's going to be all fresh content. I've been working on it for weeks, working with Brandon. Jennifer spent, 5-6 hours with me. I was just downloading her brain, and it's going to be really helpful. It's going to give a total rundown on how to, everything you need to know about PPC. So definitely, if you're Inner Circle, you get in for free. If you're not in Inner Circle, you can pay to join that, or you can join Inner Circle, but it's going to be top notch.
Brian, feel free to go with your question. What's up, man?
Hey, Anthony, can you go over how you're getting the percentage for the root or the distribution of root search volume? It's Absolutely. I forget what the spread is, but it's 50%, 75%, 100%. I'm still not really clear on how you're calculating that.
Yep, absolutely. So what I'm basically showing here, this is the Roots tab. This is just showing us aggregate search volume for this root, right? So what this is telling me here is that for garlic mincer, we have 26 keywords with a combined search volume of 33,000. The reason that we're not calling garlic a root or press a root is because it's really not a unique way of describing this product. It's a little bit too broad. Garlic mincer is the first root that we see here. We're talking 2 or more words that someone's going to use to describe a product. This is what we're actually going to focus on, right? So garlic mincer. Plus, when we do garlic mincer or garlic press, we're going to get credit for garlic, we're going to get credit for press, and we're going to get credit for mincer. This bar over here is just showing you the distribution of that keyword search volume. So this is 193,000. That's why this bar is the largest. And so you can see here that for this category, the majority of the search volume is going to come out of basically these 3 or 4 keywords, right? And in fact, if we're looking at garlic press, 107,000, you could actually do the math here. Maybe at some point we'll add in a percentage thing here. But you can see that almost all of the search volume for this niche, it drops off really fast, comes from garlic press and garlic mincer. And so I just want to go back to the product scorecard real quick. A lot of people ask about this question, right, for traffic distribution when they're filling this out.
Oh, so, yeah, this is the one this is what I wanted to understand more.
Yeah, so I'll show you real quick here. So if I'm looking at this real quick, I can say this is 1 root, garlic press, garlic mincer, that's 2. Garlic peeler, that's another one. 3. Garlic crusher, that's 4. Garlic press stainless steel, I'm gonna keep, because that is it's an additional descriptor to say stainless steel. Not all garlic presses are going to be stainless steel, right? So that's 5. We got garlic twister, that's 6. And then we got the Spanish translations, right? So if I come back to the product scorecard, that's really good, right? We've got a bunch of different ways that people are searching for the product, right? So we click this button. It looks like we've got 7 or more routes. Big advantage, right? That's really, really great. But you're probably asking yourself, okay, well, this is great. Shouldn't I launch the product? Well, that's why we have multiple questions in this product scorecard, because if you look at the distribution of the search volume, right? What do we look at here when we see the master keyword list, right? Let's see. So our total visible search volume, well, visible is what I removed after I got rid of the outliers. So I'm going to look at this. Total visible search volume for this niche is 210,000, right? So if I come back over here to the routes tab, right? What are our 2 main routes for this? We've got garlic press, that's 107,000, and we've got garlic mincer, that's 33,000. So quick math, that's like 140,000 in total. So I'd have to pull out a calculator, but I don't really need one, because if I go back to the product scorecard, the top 2 routes, 140,000 divided by 200,000. Let me just pull that out real quick. 140 divided by 200. I should be able to do that, but 70%, right? So top 2 routes, I'm going to say, are more than 75% of the keywords. It's not terrible. Some products you'll get into, it's going to be like all of the search volume, 90% plus, are encapsulated within those first 2 routes. So what I'm trying to tell you here is, like, sure, there's 7 different ways people are searching for the product, but the reality is most of the searches come from 2 keywords. So if I'm launching into this category, sure, I might be able to dominate garlic twister. I might be able to dominate, these Spanish translation of garlic press, right? But most likely I'm going to have to compete against 2 keywords that occupy a majority of the search volume for this category. And so that's why it's giving us that -50. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Thank you.
Cool. All right. If Brian doesn't have any more questions, we'll take Jeff next. What's up, Jeff? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question.
All right. So I think I'm live now.
You're all good.
Okay. So you were pushing that optimize button, and whether you did it manually or used the optimization, you said you could clean that up and get it up a bit to make it more readable. Only to the point that we're not losing a route, though, correct? I mean, which would be better, to make it more readable, to attract customers, or lose a route? So if you have to get that last route in there, shouldn't it just be all those routes listed? That's really what we're going for, like you had said, for ranking on the title versus readability. What are your thoughts on that?
I guess it's a little bit of a tricky question, just because I'm getting feedback, or maybe you can mute yourself, Jeff.
Me, if I was looking for a garlic press, that wouldn't be a turnoff the way that it's written right there.
Yeah.
But for other listings, sometimes it looks like, hey, we just jammed everything in there. But even so,
where's the threshold? Is the customer's like, that's not very readable, I'm not going to buy that product?
Let me go back to see what their original title was. I mean, this is pretty stuff. So garlic press rocker, stainless steel, garlic mince. I mean, what I would do is I would just look at the rest of the category and see, right, like, what's everyone else doing? And I could look at the titles and take a data dive, but like, let's take a look here. Garlic press, ginger crusher, Steve. I mean, like, here's my honest opinion, right? With this product, this is not like a heavily branded product. People know, they're looking for a garlic press, they're going to buy a garlic press. What I firmly believe is that what people are going to click into on the listing, they're going to very quickly scan the title. And so I'm looking here and I'm seeing that everyone's doing the exact same thing. Garlic press, premium garlic mincer with ergonomic. Like, you could add a couple with, you could put a comma, you could put some dashes. Like, everyone's doing the exact same thing. I think to compete in this category, you're going to have to put in these, you're going to have to put in these things. Like built-in cleaner, you can see some people are adding these on. again.
But if I can I say something real quick? It's like just to that point. It's like built-in cleaner is not in a root. The silicone sleeve is not in a root. Zule Kitchen himself said, "Hey, we were a little bit behind, and I let this go, and we added. Some competitor got ahead of us and put that stainless steel sleeve peeler in there, but." How important is that? See, that's something the customer may see in the title, but I would feel you would much rather want to rank for the fifth root rather than saying I've got a sleeve. Your image is showing you have a sleeve. Similar to me, there's still a lot of opportunity, even in the top sellers, to plug in another root than mention that they've got a garlic peeler sleeve.
So here's the thing, and that's also, it depends on where you are in terms of selling, right? When you just start off and you just launch, you're going to need to put a lot of keywords in the title, and you're going to need a long title, right? See what's happening here with Zule, though. If I come over and look at their ranking, right? They're ranked 2 for this, 1 for this. They've got a lot of 1s and 2s. From what I understand, their product actually isn't made with stainless steel, so they don't put that in the title. Garlic peeler, I don't think it's actually close enough. They might actually have removed garlic peeler from their master keyword list because it's not really a garlic peeler. It's actually a little bit different. And so that might be why I don't think they have peeler in here at all. But here's the thing to keep in mind, right? Once you're at this spot where you're like 95%, you can be a little bit more creative, right? You can add in the easy to squeeze ergonomic handle because Zule, they've got so much performance. Remember, 2 key roots that are making up more than 70% of the search volume for this niche. They're ranked number 1 and number 2 for. They could probably remove garlic press and mincer. I'm not saying they should do this, but they could probably remove garlic press and mincer from the title, and they're probably still not going to get de-indexed if it's in other parts of their listing because they've accumulated so much history for those keywords that it's just not going to matter. Versus when you're just starting out and you're trying to get from like that 40% to 90%, you might have to make a title that's a little bit more unreadable, right? Or a little bit less readable. It doesn't have so many features in the graphic. Like clearly they're using the first 20 characters here to say their brand name, and then they're just putting garlic press. But remember, right, this is why you look at the distribution of search terms, is because what really matters in that first 150 characters, they've got garlic press, they've got garlic mincer. The way they might look at this is like, if they're doing well for 1 and 2 for garlic press and mincer, then they're winning the game here. They're dominating this market, right? They're covering their other major roots here, mincer, and this garlic crusher, and they're fine with this, right? Versus if you're further down the list, you might be trying to shoot for some of those lower hanging fruit keywords.
That makes sense. Once you've established that people are going to buy your product foremost, then you've got more real estate to put other terms in there that might sway some other people because you're making the purchase anyway. Someone's searching for garlic press, and whether it was even in that person's listing because they've got so much previous performance that they can afford to go with or add the sleeve because they're going to get the sale anyway. Am I following? Is that correct? Correct thinking?
I think so. It's like the further along you are, you can be, I've seen people go now with really short titles, like 80 characters once they're already indexed for a lot, and they're just trying to add on like 1 keyword at a time, and they're just trying to improve those ranks. Remember too, that the title is just one part of this. You want to prioritize those keywords, the garlic press, garlic mincer, you want to put those early on in your title. But for some of these other keywords, you can put other spots in the listing, right? And so just focus on those main roots. Remember, for this product, next time we'll do another one. But for this product, we really only have 2 roots that we're like really, really focusing on, garlic press and garlic mincer. The rest, they occupy search volume, but it's less. So, you want to include those. I think when you're starting off, you're going to want to include, more keywords for sure. You're going to want
so that's just it. On an initial launch, the preference would be mumble jumble because you got to rank.
I don't like the words mumble jumble, but you got to get those keywords. You got to get those keywords in there. And if you're adding in other words, right? This is just tricky because everything is going to have garlic in it. So it's like garlic press, garlic stainless steel. But for like, if you're looking at another product category, it might be more readable just based on, you have actual different ways that people are searching for it. But like garlic press, this is all very similar keywords, so it looks a little bit more stuffed. But then again, when I look at the first page of search results and I look at all the competitors, what they're currently doing, right? Like all the titles look like it's just a bunch of keywords. And when I'm looking at this just on first glance, like coming down the page, like this doesn't turn me off. I'm drawn into the main image, right? I'm going to click into this listing based on the price, based on reviews, right? Based on the main image. This is like, I'm looking for something specific. Remember, I've typed in garlic press and I'm looking, this is a garlic press, click in, right? I don't think people are actually sitting there like reading garlic press, zinc alloy, garlic press tool with sturdy design, extracts more garlic paste. Like, I don't think that's how people are generally searching, which is why I'm saying don't overthink it when it comes to the title. Use it for keyword ranking. If you're putting some keywords in there and it's not like the most beautiful sentence, I would try to prioritize covering those roots, right?
Okay, and then using commas, like a lot of these have commas in there. If you were able to get one more, let's say the 5th ranking root, would you sacrifice just omitting the commas so you get one more character and then put that 5th root in, or would you use the commas?
I would use the commas. The commas are actually, look, you're only using one character. Your first 150 characters are going to be the most heavily indexed. You have 200 to play with. Once you start getting above 150, that's just a long title. And also, too, you got to think prioritization. It's going to give the most juice to things that are early on in that title. So, like, if you're saying you're going to use 10 commas to get in one extra keyword root, sure, you can get in one extra keyword root, but it's going to be all the way at the end. Are people even going to see it, especially if they're shopping on mobile? And then the position of it, it's going to be just less impact regardless. So I would keep commas in there. That's like the one thing you can do to make it a little bit more readable. If it was just a long string, right, then it actually might be like, wow, this just looks like a jumbled mess.
Okay, I got it. Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate them.
Good question. Thanks, Jeff. All right. I'm not sure if Bryant has another question, but Rachel, if you want to go next, feel free to drop your hands as well. If you have another question, just drop it and then you can re-raise it and we can ask another. But Rachel, go ahead.
Hi, Anthony. Hi. I actually reworked an old title of ours, a product that's been running for many years. And our ranking when I started out with this, I'm just looking at my results here. So we were like 84% of search volume on page 1.
Okay.
And 69% of keywords. And as of today, I just redived it. As of today, it's 91% of keywords and 92% of search volume. So that sounds great, but really, like, sales are not more.
Okay.
And I think it's because, fine, we're ranking for those keywords, but we're not ranking high enough.
Okay.
So what do we do now?
Okay. So that's really, really good, right? So what Rachel's saying here is she made some changes to her keywords, right? To her title rather. And then I
actually changed like some of my variations. We have a lot of variations on this. And I just changed like the few most important ASINs, the best sellers. Yep. So I see like DataDive is telling me that we have more keywords and more search volume, but we're not, the sales are pretty much the same. And, and some rankings for certain keywords have gone down a few points.
Yep.
So what happens now? What's next?
So you've made a really good first step. So here's the thing, right? When we're calculating this percentage of keywords that you're ranked on page 1 for, I believe that's in the top 45 positions, right? So if I were, let's say I go over here to the brand we were looking at, right? And so if I was like in 56 on this, and then now I move up to 45, something high, maybe it's higher than 45 because this still shows up on green, but anything that's on page 1, right? Then it's going to now show up as like, okay, this is a keyword that I'm ranked on page 1 for. But what you're saying is like, okay, the keyword rank's gone up a little bit, right? But now it's like I've gone from being ranked for 38% of keywords to 65% of keywords, but my sales actually haven't gone up. And that would make sense, right? If I went from like position 41 and I go to position 35, sure, I'm on page 1, but I'm like way at the bottom of page 1. So now the question becomes, well, how do I go from 35? I want to be in position 1 for that keyword. Like, how do I get there? And so the answer to that is the reason this case study was really successful is because this seller, for like a month and a half before, they made changes to their listing, right? With their images, they did pricing changes, and they were able to accumulate this positive history. It sounds like you had a little bit of positive history, right? But we actually need to go and improve the performance of the listing more. So if I were to go, like, this is what's going to happen, right? You can optimize your title for ranking juice and your rank will improve, but there's going to be a limit, right? At some point, right? you've now said to the Amazon algorithm, hey, I want to be indexed for these keywords. And they're like, okay, cool. We're re-indexing you for these keywords. Your rank has gone up, but at some point it's going to level out, right? So if I come here and I'm looking at garlic press, what this is telling me is if I go across the line for all of these competitors, what I can basically assume is that for garlic press, this is the number 1 seller organically, followed by this in number 2, this in 5, this person in 9. And if I come all the way back here to my example, I actually could be the 56th best seller for garlic press. And so if I want to become better than the 56th seller for garlic press, the only thing that I can do, if I've already put these in exact form in my titles, right? I can't go put it in my title again. I'm capped out there. The only thing that I can do is I need to increase my performance relative to everyone else selling this product, right? So if I want to be number 1 here, if I want to compete for garlic press with KitchenAid, or I want to compete with Zule Kitchen, remember the Amazon algorithm consists of 4 parts, right? We have click-through rate, we have conversion rate, we have revenue, and we have relevancy. And so, right, I don't know what the conversion rate is for Zule Kitchen here, but let's just say it's 30%, right? If my conversion rate is like 20%, I can never expect to be number 2 unless my conversion rate is better. If their click-through rate is 15% and my click-through rate is 10%, the average of this niche, I have a really good graphic. I can show it real quick. I just want to show this.
Is there any way to know the CBR of a competitor?
You can look into brand analytics. We can go through that on the next call. I don't know how closely it gives for what am I at? Product launch. So many decks. Is it the product launch master file? Hold on, let me just pull this up. Yeah, we can cover that on another call. You're gonna have to go into brand analytics and see. But just basically imagine this, right? Like click-through rate, or conversion rate. Everyone's always asking, and I know you were in the masterclass, so you've already seen this, Rachel, but just for everyone else, like everyone's always asking, like, what's a good conversion rate? I got to get some more information on how to actually pool the performance of the niche. We can go over that in the next call. But if the average conversion rate for the niche, if your conversion rate's 22% and you're in a niche that the average is 15%, right? You're going to be doing really well. But if you're in a niche that the average is 45% and you're still converting at 22%, your performance is much lower relative to everyone else in the niche, right?
So the question is, what's the conversion rate for my niche?
You're going to have to try to find that out. Yeah. And I can follow up. I don't have enough time in this call to like go through kind of the methodology for finding that, but that's what you're going to want to do. And keep in mind, it might not be conversion rate. It might be click-through rate. It might be revenue, right? Like KitchenAid, if I go to deep dive real quick and I look at their listing, KitchenAid does not have a good listing, right? So you're like, wow, their conversion rate, I don't know. Is it good? Is it bad? Like their image gallery is certainly not helping sell, but KitchenAid is a massive brand, right? So people are just coming in and they're like, I've heard of KitchenAid. I'm going to buy this. Their conversion rate might be much, much higher than everyone else, right? Much higher than the seller I'm looking at. Their click-through rate, just because they have KitchenAid. I mean, look at this title, right? Not optimized at all, but it might not need to be because their click-through rate is going to be high just based on having that brand name there. So yeah, you're going to have to try to figure out, you're going to have to try to estimate like, okay, what's the click-through rate of this niche? Where am I performing? What's the conversion rate of the niche? You can see revenue pretty easily, like what's being sold and what am I selling? And you're going to have to figure out whether through changes to your listing, like changing your images, changes to your pricing, or if you wanted to like run PPC so that you can get that revenue up, you're going to have to increase your performance if you want to increase your rank. You're going to want to keep your title, that optimized title, because now as your click-through rate increases, as your conversion rate increases, as your revenue increases, that's going to help you over time to build that rank.
Okay, I get you.
Cool.
For the same product, looking at the master keyword list, this is a little bit of a different question. I see that one of the like basically the top keyword is missing from the master keyword list. Like they have it in plural, but they don't have it in singular. Is there any way for me to add it in manually into the master keyword list?
Yeah, adding something, you can add things in your master keyword list here in the normalizer. You can just like type things in, new keyword.
I just click on normalizer. And what, you just type it in?
Yeah, and I think that should add it.
Why would this happen that a popular keyword is not there?
I'm not sure. I actually don't know the answer to that. I'll have to follow up.
Anyway, so I typed the keyword, and then how do I add it? I'm sorry, I missed it. Yeah, I was looking at my.
Sorry, just a correction. Actually, we can't add new keywords at the moment into the MKL, but that's a feature we're working on to bring.
Sorry, I was wrong there, guys. Thanks, Moises.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Okay. And if I see a keyword there that a lot of competitors are ranking for, but it's not highly relevant, is it better to remove it or leave it there? Because after all, a lot of competitors are ranking for it.
I'm trying to think. It depends if you think you can make sales on it. Like a really good example,
it's possible, but it definitely won't have a very good conversion rate or CTR because it's really not specific, very general.
Here's the thing, right? Let's see if I expand our search here. I have my minimum search volume way too high. But if I change this to 500, I'm sure I can find keywords here, especially for these brands that are doing quite well. Right now I'm getting a bunch more keywords. Let's try to find one here. See, this is accessories for kitchen, and it's in, right? This is really general. This person's doing well for accessories for kitchen in the Spanish translation, right? But this person's also ranked for 95%. So kind of the same advice that I gave earlier is if your search volume, if your percentage of keywords that you're ranked for is lower, right? Focus on the core main routes. Once you get to these final stages and you're very strong, you're 80% plus, then you start looking at the more and more general keywords.
And then you change your title?
Maybe change your title. What I would probably start doing for these really, really loose keywords is I'm going to run PPC to them, and then I'm going to run my report afterwards to see what the performance was. And then if I'm actually converting for those keywords, then I'll consider adding it to the title. But I'm going to try to test it in PPC first before adding a super crazy outlier keyword into my title.
Mm-hmm. After you rank for a keyword, could you remove it from the title, or you need to keep it there because otherwise you lose the ranking?
That's a very good question, right? That's something that we're testing with a lot. What my gut tells me and kind of what I've seen historically over the past year is if your performance is good enough, you could theoretically remove a keyword from the title. Remember, you still have things in your description, your search terms, your subject matter. So I don't think you're going to get de-indexed. But if you're on the line there and your performance is only so-so and you've just recently established relevancy, then if you take something out of your title, I think it could actually take you into a downward area. So just something to play around with. But I've been seeing people go to shorter and shorter titles. Maybe one day Amazon is going to change the algorithm where you don't have to keyword stuff your title. You can make it readable, and they're letting you do this on the back end, and they're going to give it more weight. But right now, this is just how the algorithm works, that you're going to get the most credit for an exact form in your title. I think once you have enough performance, you might be able to remove things. Just something to play around with. See, if you remove something from your title, just try it on one of your products. Does your keyword rank drop immediately? I think a lot of the times, if you have enough performance, it's not going to just magically vanish, right? Amazon's not going to forget that you're a garlic mincer. Something to play around with and report back. I'm curious.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. And thanks for trying, guys. Everyone, check out what Rachel did. She tried something. She's getting somewhere. Next week, she's going to be doing better and better. All of your competitors are figuring this out. So just try something. You're probably not going to tank your listing. And little by little, you'll get better. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you.
All right. Kara, what's up? How can we help you? All right, we don't hear you yet. We'll give it another minute. Maybe you might be muted. All right, I don't hear anything yet, Kara, but we'll let Danielle, if you want to ask your question.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Doing well.
Okay, so my question is, what if you know that your conversion is the same, kind of the same as your
Can you hear me now?
I can. Let's do Danielle's question first, and then we'll do yours right after this. Okay, Kara? Cool.
Okay.
Right.
So what if you know that your conversion rate is similar to your competitors, but you are in position 45 and they're in position 1? So your conversion might be a little bit more a fact of visibility. Is the only way of going up is it doing sponsored products campaigns or advertising?
remember everyone, the Amazon ranking algorithm, it consists of 4 parts. Conversion is only one of them. So what very likely could be happening, your conversion rate might be better than a competitor, but are you matching their performance on click-through rate? Are you matching their performance on revenue, right? Revenue is just total product sales, right? So are you selling like a very low price product and you're selling a lot of units, but your revenue is not as high, right? So you got to think of what can you do to holistically improve all aspects of this, right? Your click-through rate, your conversion rate, your revenue, and then relevancy is just the related group of keywords. So if you have your title built in the correct way, relevancy should really take care of itself as long as the other 3 are working. So I would try to take a deeper look and ask yourself, can I increase my click-through rate through main image, through price changing, through coupons, different levers that you can pull there. PPC is going to help with the revenue component, right? As you have all of these different keywords in your master keyword list, these are all of your different bank accounts. You want to start putting more and more money into these bank accounts. If your title is written in the correct way, if you run PPC to these keywords, to these roots, right, and you double down on those keywords, you're going to see that improve. But yeah, if you're not like pulling that PPC lever, it's probably going to be a factor of revenue, right? When we're looking here at this master keyword list, right, let's just look in terms of sales. These people are selling $116,000, $129,000 a month. You can see here that even between, this is all ranked by, this is units sold, right? So they're selling 11,395. They're selling only 1,000 units less, but these people are actually making more money. And so I'm guessing that's because the price point of this is actually higher. So keep in mind, right? Like this conversion rate might be better. Their click-through rate might be better, right? But, right, like we still have the revenue component to keep in mind. And so if I'm all the way down here for this brand, right, they're selling $6,000 a month. So it's going to take a long time. Go and check your revenue. It's going to take a long time for this revenue to match, right, what these bigger sellers have. So it might be a very big uphill battle. I might have to spend a ton of PPC to get to that level. And I might be able to make it there eventually. But that's also too why when we give you these, I think I'm in outlier keywords. I need to go back into the MKL. But that's why when we give you these thresholds here for how competitive a niche is, we all know we shouldn't be selling garlic presses. We know it's competitive. But like these people who are very weak, you're probably, right, you're probably going to be able to beat these people within the first few weeks of launch. These people here over in red, you might never be able to beat them, right? You might have to spend literally like hundreds of thousands, if not like millions of dollars to actually go and be one of the very strong sellers. And you still might be only shooting for position 8. So that's just the realistic world that we're in. It's like, if you're competing against a niche that's this competitive and you're something that's, lower here, it just might take a lot of time and money to get there because you have to wait for, right, not just click-through rate to be high, not just conversion rate to be high, but revenue. And if you're launching a new product into this category, if your conversion rate is much higher than everyone else and your click-through rate is much higher than everyone else, then the honeymoon period is going to really help you rank quickly. But if you're doing this on a listing that's older, it's going to take more time because remember, you might be like killing it now. Those metrics might be going up now, but you still have all of this prior history, might be a year, 2 years on this listing that you have to overcome, right, before you're going to start to see those gains. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Cool. Awesome question. All right, Carol, we'll do you next and then we'll do Petra last. We'll do him next after you.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Awesome. So we updated a bunch of titles in our listings with just one root keyword. Sales and BSR declined.
Okay.
And so we've reverted them back.
Okay.
And now what?
Now you try a different one. I'm curious to know, I know you won't say it on this call because it's private, but I'm curious to know what the keyword root was. A few reasons that could happen, right? Like, so I guess the one question is on the keyword that you added in, on the root that you added in, was it previously in the title at all, or was it not, or was it in there, but like in a broad form?
I would say on one of them, it would be in a broad form, and another one, it would have been in a different format. So we just focused on one root. And then if that root wasn't in the title, we added it because we did this to about 10 different SKUs.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't in the title, we added it. If it was already in the title in a broad format, we made it exact. We tried to take we analyzed each title, and whatever one thing, the one change drove the best result. That was the one thing we did.
And did any go up, or did all 10 listings that you did that change in, did they all go down?
So one of them went up, not a ton, but it went up and it stayed up. One of them went up for like 3 days and then went down.
Okay.
And the others have gone down.
Yep.
So my question is, well, if they go down, do we just wait to see if they go up? But I thought that Brandon had said, you'll see immediately better or worse, and that'll be it. So if you see it go down, don't wait, revert it.
Most likely that's what's happening. And so this is what I'm really trying to drive home, is this point on his on performance, right? So what could have very likely happened there is, for one of the 10 ASINs, when you put that new keyword into the title, Amazon's like, okay, we're going to recheck this. We're going to see how their performance compares to everyone else now that we have this new change. And for one of those products, very likely what could be happening is that the performance, it was actually under indexed. There was keyword potential that still needed to be unlocked there. So we saw that one go up. But for the other ones, when Amazon did those calculations and they readjusted, they're like, actually, right, maybe you guys were a little bit over indexed for performance. And so you saw those go down, right? And so what it's really going to come down to at the end of the day is, you can try to add in as many keywords as you want. You can try to trick the algorithm. But this is what Brandon's saying, is you're going to see this up or down, and you're going to see that happen pretty quick, right? So if it goes down, right, I would probably revert back to the other one and figure, okay, for that keyword, as long as it's not like a super crazy outlier keyword, if this is a keyword that's core to the ranking of this product, and it's like has a high search volume and you're trying to increase your rank for it, then you got to ask yourself, like, okay, what can I do to increase my performance for these keywords? And remember, the Amazon ranking algorithm, right? Those 4 parts. You're going to want to try to think, like, what can I do to increase my performance on this listing? Because, like, at some point, right, you made the change. And if it went down, hopefully it didn't go down by a lot. Have you reverted it yet, or have you left it the same?
Some of them we've reverted right away, and a couple we've left. We're just trying to test different scenarios to see what the results are.
Yep. Well, here's the other thing too to ask, right? Like, when you changed it, how much of a change are we talking in terms of going down? Are we talking going from like 30 to 45, like 30 to 70? Are we talking like 35 to 37? Like,
I would say mostly like 30 to 45. Some of them have been more significant, but usually it's within that range.
Yeah. In that case, I'd probably try to revert back and then try a different keyword, right? You might be capped out of where that ranking potential is. And the only thing you're going to be able to do is just drive more PPC traffic to that route and increase your performance, and then try to make updates to the listing. But you might be capped out there, right? All these big success stories we have of like, okay, you just change a couple keywords and you see this huge increases. They've all been either they have historical performance on the listing, or very recently, like this guy we shared today, he was like a month and a half before making changes to the listing, making changes to the pricing, which helped to increase their click-through rate, helps to increase conversion rate. They're running PPC to help increase their revenue. So when they made this change, they'd accumulated all this positive history and they saw an increase. You got to keep working on the performance piece over time though, right? Like, the keyword changes are not going to do it all unless you have the performance to justify it.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And it sounds like on one of those, you might have had the performance to justify it. When you saw the increase, was it significant or was it just a few points?
Just a little bit.
Okay. Good question.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Petra, what's up?
Hey, Anthony, how are you?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good. I have a question in reference to the master keyword list.
Okay.
So is it possible to bring up on the screen the example you had?
You bet.
Okay, so when you do the dive, right, after you go and start cleaning the master keyword list, and one of the things you see, right, you see the search volume off, right, where you see the 88.4%, right?
Yep.
Okay, so at what point in time, because now you see the competitor search volume strength as well, right? 7 very strong and 5 and such and such. If you start bringing in, or when would you consider bringing in outlier keywords? Because in the moment you bring those in, the competitor search volume strength changes. And also when you're taking out branded keywords, right? Also the search volume of 88.5% may change. It's lowers or going up. Or so what are the parameters where you say, okay, I should keep these outlier keyword, or the outlier keyword should come into play later on when you make decisions?
I think you're asking a few different questions, but
Correct.
I'll try to I'll make sure that I get all of them. If I miss any, just let me know. But remember, if I'm just starting off and I'm like green or yellow here, I'm going to focus on things that are highest at the top of this list. I'm probably not going to spend too much time focusing on outlier keywords, and I'm going to see if I can get some gains from here early on, right? Once I'm one of these people and I'm like ranked for 95%, then I'm going to start looking further down the list. I'm going to look at outlier keywords and I'm going to see what I can improve my rank for. So that's like one thing, is focus on the main routes first. Once you've got your position there and you see that, okay, I've put these in exact form in my title, my rank's not increasing anymore, you're going to see it go up and then you're going to see it level off. Once you level off, you have two options, right? You can either increase your performance to try to get that rank to go up, right? Or you can start focusing on other keywords. You can focus on more broad keywords. You can focus on those outlier keywords. You can focus on things further down this list. So I think that's answering part of the question. What was the other one? Were you asking about like at what point, you're asking about this 88.4%?
Right. So at the very beginning, let's say you just do a niche dive, right? You try to see if the garlic press is a good niche to get in, right? And you see all these, competitor search volume strength, right? So it's a very competitive market. Yep. When you start cleaning up the master keyword list, right, those numbers may shift, correct? Yep. You may have 4 very strong, 3 strong, and such, right? And then if you go to the outlier keywords, right, then you can see, hey, I don't know, should I use, the garlic grater? If I add that there, it may also change the strength of the niche. So do I do that, or I make my decision before I start moving outlier keywords?
Yeah, good question. Okay, I understand now. So here's the thing, right? Garlic grinder, it's quite good here. It's another route, right, that people can use for searching for this product. It's 4,500 search volume. But remember, the reason that we call it an outlier keyword is because the relevancy is going to be low. And how we calculate relevancy is just like what percentage of these competitors are ranked on page 1 for this keyword. So if I come back over here, it should actually tell me my relevancy for garlic grinder. It's at 18%. So out of these 17 competitors, only 18% of them, and it looks like just a few, like 3 of them have a ranking. Most people are not indexed at all. So here's the thing, right? Over time, this could turn out to be a more and more valuable garlic grinder might turn out to be a more and more valuable keyword for this niche, right? We might see more and more people that are going to start to rank for this keyword. But right now, it's only a few. And so again, what do we want to prioritize? Is we want to prioritize search volume and relevancy. So again, if I'm Zule Kitchen and I'm killing it and I'm ranked for 95% of the keywords, and I look here, they're actually ranked pretty well for this. They're already on page 1. They're in position 23 for this keyword, right? So they can focus on this, right? But for someone else, right, further down this list, I don't know if I would be focusing on garlic grinder right off the bat. It might be something that once I've launched my listing, right, I've tried all of these other routes and I can see, okay, I increased my rank. Now I'm leveling off. Once you're at that point about leveling off and you've tried all these other keyword routes, you've put them in exact forms in your title, only then do you move on to these external keywords. I certainly wouldn't want to include this from the point of launch, just because I don't actually know. I'd have to go and click here on garlic grinder, right? Remember, Amazon doesn't, really good point and very good question. Amazon doesn't want a flea market of products, right? They don't want like a spatula next to a garlic grinder next to a pet bed, right? And so part of how the algorithm works is grouping similar products together. So when I'm looking at a garlic grinder, right? Okay, this is actually what a garlic grinder is. It's like you put I've seen one of these before. You put the garlic in and you actually twist it, and it's just a different way of chopping up garlic versus a garlic press, right? So if you see here, these are all garlic grinders. This is a garlic press. Will some people type in a garlic grinder and then see a garlic press and be like, I'm actually going to buy that instead? Maybe, maybe not. But if you were launching a new product, right, it could be a little bit risky. This could be a whole different set of keywords. I think there's a lot of overlap, right? There could be a whole different set of keywords. And so what you want to be careful about is, especially during launch, if you're launching a new product, is you don't want to get grouped in with a lot of unsimilar products, because it's ultimately going to make it very hard for you to rank on those keywords that are actually important. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you very much. So initially, when you make the decisions about the niche, you should take a look at it without outlier keywords, correct then?
What I'm saying is when you first start off and do the research and you build out your master keyword list, right? And you go to your roots, focus on the main roots first that occupy the most search volume, right? And then later, I think it's going to probably add garlic grinder. You're going to see that it's here. So garlic grinder could eventually turn, I mean, it's a different product. It's definitely not a garlic press, but it does accomplish a similar function. So what I'm trying to say is that when you're launching, you want to focus on the main keywords, the keyword roots first with the highest search volume. If garlic grinder was like way up here with a ton of search volume and I thought that I could really make sales, then maybe I would include it for launch. But in this case here, it's so far down this list. Like I could also put garlic chopper in there. But before I get to garlic chopper, I'm going to be focusing on these roots that are higher up.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Good question. All right, everyone. I know we're a few minutes over here. So if there's no more people asking questions, I'm going to go through and answer some of these ones in the chat. All right. So Gonzalo is asking, I realized yesterday there was a minor change in the dive box interface. Can you show how to add 2-3 ASINs to an already created niche? Please show both using the tray and using dive from a new page. I don't know too much about the UI changes. I know there's like a few issues yesterday with data dive. So I'll just show this real quick. If I wanted to add 2 or 3 new products, I don't know. I don't, Moises, if you're still here, you can chime in. I'd love your feedback, but I only know how to do it adding 2 or 3 products from the dive box itself. So I would go and click on my previously created niche, just going a little slow here, but garlic press NA office hours. Ooh, okay. So these ones are already showing me, right? These are already in my niche. So if I wanted to add 2 new ones on, do we lose our toggle? I guess that's the question that you're asking about. So maybe if I click, there we go. So I think you just click on this checkbox now, and then, yeah, so it's saying this ASIN was never part of, it was never part of the selected niche, my previous niche, but it will be included in the new one. And so if I deselect that, it's just going to tell me this ASIN was never part of a previous niche. So if I wanted to add on these 2 new products, I would just click there. And now I have 2 new selected ASINs plus the 5 ASINs that were previous in this niche, and then I would click dive. I don't know about the way to do it through the ASIN tray, so I'm not going to show you that way. I'm just going to show you that one. So let me know if that answers the question. I'm pretty sure that covers it. Okay, Brian, I think you already asked the question about search volume distribution, so I think we're good there. Okay, Kara, I think we already answered this question as well. Just keep playing around, guys, and don't be discouraged, right? Like, you're going to try this. You're going to try it more and more. Sometimes it's going to go up. Sometimes it's going to go down. Sometimes it's going to be flat. What's ultimately going to dictate growth at the end of the day, unless you have a lot of historical performance and you're just waiting to unlock that keyword potential, it's going to be performance on the listing, right? Josh, should a keyword be considered relevant for a product if it's ranking 20th or 30th spot for that keyword? I noticed Data Dive counts these keywords even though they might not be driving sales because they're far down the page. Yeah, so just keep in mind, Josh, that like when it comes down to, you know, the entire master keyword list, you're going to see a lot of those keywords on there that might be low, right? That's less than 150 searches a month. These might not be important to put in your listing. Like, I'm not saying go take something on that list and put it into your title in an exact form. These are more groups of keywords that you should be running PPC to, right? So look inside that root. There might be like 10, 15 keywords in that root, right? Some keywords might have just a few keywords in that root or just singular keywords. Try individual PPC campaigns. Go and check your report after and see how those perform. And you're just going to want to double down on the keywords that are improving your keyword rank, not just the ones that are profitable. Okay, Jeremy, is anyone seeing better results from shorter titles that are more optimized for mobile versus keyword stuff titles that rank for more? Good question. If anyone wants to chime in there, I think when you're starting off, you're going to need a longer title. As you get more performance, you can go shorter. But if anyone wants to chime in, that would also be helpful. April asking also, is there a way for us to tell Data Dive which product is ours versus the competitor rather? That is a heavily requested feature. It's on the roadmap. Right now, there's no way to identify what your listing is. You just got to kind of map it out. Maybe one day in the future, we're going to give you a way to reorder these. Right now, it just shows up in order of sales in terms of units sold. So the answer to that for right now, unfortunately, is no, but we have heard that a lot. So just keep those coming. April asks, unfortunately, I haven't done the best job of keeping up with the latest updates. Can you please confirm that we will no longer need external subscription? Yes, Moises already answered this. Thanks so much, man. Yeah, you do not need Jungle Scout or Data Dive. And then everyone's saying, awesome answer. We're so happy to have him here. He's yeah, he knows a lot more of this stuff than I do a lot of the time. Okay, missed how to add an ASIN after the dive. Jeff, let me know if you got that in the end. You missed it. Okay, I'll show that one more time and then we'll wrap up here. So Jeff, just how you're going to do that in terms of adding the ASIN at the end of the dive is, I don't know how to do it from the ASIN tray. I don't think it's a suggested way anymore to do that. So I'm just going to click on my dive box here. The UI has changed a little bit. There used to be a toggle here. We've replaced that, it looks like, with just a checkbox. So if I click on my previously selected niche, it's just like not showing up, but I'm just going to click on this this garlic press here, right? And then how I would add these on, the toggle is not here anymore, right? It's going to show you the things that are already in your niche. Anything that's new has not been added. And then if I click the checkbox, let's say I want to add these two on, right? Now I'm adding 2 new ASINs plus the 7 from the previous niche. And if I hover over this, it's just telling me that this ASIN was never part of the selected niche, but will be included in the current dive. Versus this, it's just saying that it was never selected in the previous niche. So if I wanted to add this one on too, you would just add that, and then now it's going to show up here, and you click dive. Whoops. All right. Can you merge 2 searches in your back end? I don't believe there's a way to do that. I certainly don't know how to do it. If you have to, just do another dive. Jeff, if you want to unmute yourself, we can take your question. What's up?
Yeah, I saw that you went through that example of how to add a new ASIN, but why was it already populated in that list?
Let's see.
Because let's say we go to the ASIN tray, I load 20, I do the dive, and then I was like, hey, you know what? I heard I from external sources, I hear about this other person's product, and I have their ASIN. How do you plug that in?
What I would do is I'm just going to grab I'm just going to grab a random ASIN here and just copy this. I get what you're saying. How would you add it for the ASIN tray? I don't know off the top of my head how to add from the ASIN tray. I haven't done it in a while, but what I would probably just
after you've dived with 20 that you've selected, you just want to manually add one more in for listing builder sake or for master keyword sake.
Yep. I get the issue here. This is just being really annoying.
Because it said that the UI changed a bit, but when you're just pulling from a list, how was that list populated?
Because that was just what showed up in the search results. I get what you're asking though, is if you wanted to add something that wasn't in the search results, how would you do that?
Right, but from the search results, have you in whatever list you have there, when you say the search results, is that just is that first page? Is that how that's working? In some dives, you're just getting everything on first page?
Exactly, yeah. So hold on, let me see if this works real quick. So this works too. So I'm just going to explain both of those, but see how I did add this to my ASIN tray and it's showing up here. Right. So I just came into my ASIN tray now, and it looks like this UI change worked as well. So this must be brand new. So I just clicked on this checkbox, and now it's saying I have 1 new ASIN selected in addition to the 17 that I started on the dive earlier today. So I could click dive from there, and it's going to add in that 1 new ASIN. What I've done is I've just added that to the tray. Earlier, what we were seeing is we just literally had garlic press up. So this is just what showed up organically for garlic press. If I wanted to go to page 2, I could see what shows up organically and sponsored, of course. And then I could do the same thing. Is this what this is going to show me right now when this pulls up is this is going to show me everything that's showing up on page 1, right?
Okay.
For these keywords.
Yeah, I've just never dived using page one, I've always went in and selected specific ASINs and put them in my tray. So I see how to do it now. You can just go back to the page one and select the ASIN, and it seems that it will work out.
Yeah, and you're even a little bit more on top of this than me. I know we put out an update, but I haven't looked and seen what some of them are yet. So yeah, it looks like that ability to add a singular or multiple ASINs from the ASIN tray actually does work now as expected. I think that was just updated.
Okay, it must have been, because I was like trying to figure out how to do that, and I just saw you do it right then and there. So question answered. Thank you.
Awesome. But Aziz, where are you dialing in from today? Let's hear your question.
Hi, Anthony. How are you?
What's going on? Doing well.
I'm dialing in from the UK. Thanks for the overview. It was really useful. I've been using DataDive for probably about the last 2-3 months. One of the bits I struggle with, and you've touched on it a bit during the call, is how do we balance readability of the title versus keyword stuffing? And there's been quite a lot of debate. There was quite an interesting debate between Brandon and someone on LinkedIn recently about it. His view being keyword stuffing is old hat. We shouldn't be doing it. You need to be optimizing the title really to sell the product. Is there a view yet on that from your point of view? You seem to be very much in the keyword, to be blunt, the keyword stuffing camp. But interested to know your view.
Yeah, it's a really good question, a really common question. What I'm really trying to push people towards is get something down on paper that's going to give you root coverage, right? The reason too that when you click the optimize ranking juice button, that it doesn't just fill your full character count, you're choosing a percentage that you want to complete from it, is because this is just a starting point. I know for certain that I need to have these keywords in exact forms in my title, right? But I'm going to leave myself a little bit of extra space. I definitely agree with Brandon, right? You want to balance the line, right? There's a reason that when we look at this brand from Zulay, I'm going to drop that title back in here. When we look at this brand from Zulay, right? They've, I think, done a really, really good job here. And this is a Thrasio brand, right? So they're doing quite well. This is, they're like the number 1, number 2 seller of this product. They've done a really good job of getting their primary root coverage for this title, but also making it readable, right? So they're getting their main keyword here, garlic press. They've got garlic mincer, right? If I delete the rest here, I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is all within the first 150 characters. They're only at 86 characters. So they're doing a really, really good job of that. Right. I'm gonna have to reach out and get some best practices of like, what are the types of words that you can fill in here? I can't talk about this right now, but like, later we're gonna have this AI bullet points. I think we're gonna probably like build in some stuff that's gonna like, how can you fill out these titles while still getting your good root coverage? Right. So, you want to make it as readable as possible. The other thing too, that I really want to just harp on is, right, when we're talking about our roots, right, there's going to be other categories that have a more narrow distribution of search volume. But look here, right, I think our total search volume for this niche was like 220,000, something like that. Maybe it's 216,000. And so look at this. So garlic press makes up 108,000 of that, and garlic mincer makes up another 33,000. So in total, that's like 140,000. I think I did this math yesterday in North America. I can't remember, but it's like almost 75% of the keywords. So yes, we do have all of these other keywords, right, that I can be trying to improve my ranking for, that I can put in an exact form of my title. But what I really care about the most, right, where most sales and searches are coming from is garlic press and garlic mincer. So I think when we build out a more detailed SOP for actually how to get this done, is the real thought is going to be like, look at where the majority of your search volume is coming from, try to prioritize those keywords and make the first part of your title a little bit more readable. And then if you're going to put keywords in, put it in a little bit more in the end, just so that it's a little bit more readable there. But yeah, you want to walk the line there. I don't think, right, like I said, don't ever put this into your listing. Don't put the title that's just the keywords. Like, try to add in something. At very minimum, be putting in like commas or dashes. Try to break it up. It also depends on the category, right? If I look through this category, a lot of people are going to have heavier keyword stuff titles. This is a kind of a commodity product. It's a garlic press. People know what they're searching for, know what they're getting. I would try to walk the line a little bit. I hope that answers it. I'm going to try to maybe that would be a good topic for next week, is like how to write your title that's not keyword stuffing. And we'll get in some best practices and maybe bring in a copywriter.
Anthony, may I ask one more?
Absolutely. Go for it.
So I operate in a niche which is a fraction of the size of the one you've just shown, and quite often the volume estimates that I'm getting from the tool are quite different from what I'd find through the SQP, for example, the search query performance, and ultimately that's because I operate in a very, very small niche. If I recall correctly, there's a way of bringing in your own keywords into DataDive. Can you just remind me how to do that, please?
Moises, I don't know if you're there. I know it's probably a little bit early, but I always thought, and again, I don't know everything about DataDive. I was always under the impression that you could bring things in here through the normalizer.
Yeah,
I think that I'm actually wrong about this. I don't know if you can chime in, Moises.
Hey, yeah. So the normalizer will be for you to basically bring all of your keywords and get the normalized routes, and you can get the search volume and everything. But this is mostly for PPC. Bring it into your own master keyword list. As far as I know, it's not possible at the moment, but it's something that we're working on to bring soon.
Okay. Got it. I think we might have just lost him there for a minute, or no. Oh no, you're still here. Yeah. So we got asked that earlier today. I always thought the normalizer was for adding things in, but I think it's just for PPC. It'll add them into your PPC, not your MKL. But we have heard this, and when you were talking about the difference between what you saw in the search query performance and what you saw on DataDive. Was it like a material difference? Was it just like really overstating certain things? Were the low keywords actually like higher searches? I'm just curious to get some more feedback.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Probably, Anthony, I'm quite happy to send. I'll share some more detail, maybe in a personal email to you. But yeah, it's common thing. So whether I look at whether when I looked at it using Helium 10 or whether I look at it now using Jungle Scout, the volumes are always quite different, but my volumes are a fraction of what you showed there. If I have a keyword term with in 5 figures, I'm a very happy boy. Most of mine are. I'm lucky if they're in 4 figures. So because of that, just your percentages, your variations are obviously going to be a lot higher. But yeah, happy to share it. And it sounds like you've already got that enhancement is being worked on already, so there's no need for me to request it. Is that right?
Yeah, we'll definitely take note of that, and if you want to shoot that over in an email, that would be super helpful.
Yep, that's great. Yeah, I'll share an example with you. Okay, but thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Cheers.
All right, everyone. If there's no more hands up, then I'm just going to start going through the questions in the chat. Andy, welcome back as always. Andy is like very dedicated Inner Circle member from Brisbane. Thanks so much for joining here. Good day, mate. That's my best Australian accent. All right, Roy, what's going on? Roy is asking, you can open history to see changes. I notice often that changing the title is not allowed by Amazon, even if it is my own ASIN under my own brand. Yeah, so based on my understanding, you are going to have to, like in some categories and some products, this isn't for everyone. You actually have to request a title change. But based on my understanding, you just have to reach out and they can get that change done for you. It's just they don't like, for certain products, for certain categories, like really constant title changes. And so, right, I don't think there's any way around that. Okay, so you can open history to see changes. You're doing the title. Okay. I noticed so this is what, sometimes you got to request to Amazon if you're changing your title too often or to change your title at all. So I think that's just category and product specific. Okay, we have another question here. Which is better to use in titles, comma or dashes, or there's no preference? I always use dashes. I don't know why. In this category, almost everyone's using commas. I think it's just a matter of personal preference. We did get a question yesterday of like, should we sacrifice putting in commas or dashes to get one extra keyword route? Like, keep in mind, guys, these titles, they could be up to 200 characters long. So even if I have like 10 dashes, 10 commas in my title, and I'm like, man, I could squeeze in one extra keyword, kind of like the question earlier, I'm going to focus a little bit more if I can on readability, right? I don't think you're going to get, right, that much extra bonus for having those 10 extra characters, I would figure out other ways to slim down my title, right, before removing the commas and dashes. I do find that it helps to separate these different ideas, right, these different phrases, these different keyword roots, and it makes it a little bit more readable. All right, Lucas, we've got another question. Where are you dialing in from? And let us know how we can help.
Hey, Anthony. I'm actually dialing in from Turkey right now, but I'm from Germany. We're on a quick vacation to escape the really harsh German winter. My question is actually not related to the listing creation part specifically. I already played around with it for the last couple of weeks. I really like it. Comes in quite handy. The question I have is more about the PPC campaign structure. I was playing around with it, and I saw that if you create PPC campaigns, basically all the search terms that you're not covering in broad are being covered in exact and vice versa. So you're excluding keywords, which is great, I think. My question is, if you launch campaigns, the tool recommends launch campaigns. How do I then update my campaigns if I don't want to use all the routes that are available in my master keyword list?
Yeah, so if you come over, and really good question here. If you come over here to this PPC campaigns for launch, you actually, right, so you have two options of creating campaigns. You can go to PPC keywords and you can manually select. This is going to bring in everything from your master keyword list. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, it's going to bring in some related products, right? Like all the way down here at the bottom. It's going to, for product targeting campaigns, it's going to bring those in. I can manually select like how I want to include these, right? What types of the campaigns that I want to include. And I can go and send this to Amazon. The other option is I can come to PPC campaigns for launch. This is recommended if you're trying to optimize these campaigns based on route. And how this actually works is if it's only going to include the keyword routes that you select. So I'm just going to wait for this to load a minute. But like if I want to include my main routes here, so garlic press, garlic mincer, garlic chopper, garlic peeler, so it's just going to take a little bit because it's formulating these campaigns based on the parameters. Now I should have like, what is that, 4 campaigns, right? And it's going to create these campaigns for me. So I can set my parameters down here, right? And then I can review the campaign and you can see how it's going to break up the campaigns, right? Right, it's going to create a whole bunch of campaigns based on the number of keywords that I have in there. And so it's only going to include the routes that I've selected here. So if I didn't want to include a route, I would just uncheck it and then I could send this to Amazon. Does that answer the question?
Yes, well, partly. I got that far. My question would then be, if I want to, let's say I want to launch with those 3 routes, because I've identified that those are the most important ones. If I then later on want to add more smaller routes, is there a way to do that automatically, that I can already tell the tool, hey, I already covered those routes, please only create campaigns for routes that I didn't cover? Or is that something that I should have to do manually?
I think that is something that you're going to have to do manually at this point. We're making a lot of updates. This whole year, 2023, is all about upgrades to the PPC side of the tool. So I think maybe in the future that might be something, but you would kind of have to already know what campaigns you have. Right now inside of Data Dive, you can't actually edit campaigns. You can push new campaigns out. You can delete them inside of Amazon. So I'm sure in the future, right, that's a feature people are going to ask. But if I'm like, okay, I've kind of optimized for my existing routes, but now I want to get into like garlic grinder, garlic slicer, garlic twister, I think the only way would be to check these, create new campaigns, and then send them to Amazon.
Okay, makes sense. So that's what I was thinking as well. And just out of curiosity, do you, for the launch campaigns, it only creates exact campaigns, if I'm not mistaken. Is that what has been working out the best for you guys, or why are you not also rolling out for the same routes, broad and maybe phrase campaigns?
I don't know. I think it is just exact campaigns right now. I'm sure, probably the idea to do that in the future. I think if you were it's just like the PPC campaigns for launch. It's quite fast. But if you wanted to go through and you could go to the PPC campaigns tab and you could set up. Again, this is going to pull in from your master keyword list, so it's not group by root. But you could go through and set up the different campaigns here, like product phrase. But yeah, right now I think it's just I'm pretty sure it's just the exact in there. I was going to mention one more thing here. Oh, this is again, this is still a little bit manual, but keep in mind that we do have this naming convention that you can set up here. So if you ever did want to go into Amazon, the reason that we have this here is because this is going to build me a ton of campaigns here, right? Just from those 3 keywords, I can just count. It's a bunch of different campaigns. And so you can always, that's why we have this category here. You can customize this, but it's going to come in you're going to pull in your root group. So it would be pretty easy to go into Seller Central and you could search by root group and see what you had covered. I don't know if that helps, but.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, man.
All right. Yeah, good question. All right. So I'm going to move back into the chat. If anyone else has a question, feel free to raise your hand. Okay. So we got through that on commas, dashes. Okay. Roy, we've got another question. What about extending the root with another word or words? For example, garlic press stainless steel versus garlic press. Which variant would do more for my ranking juice? Okay, let's take a look real quick. So let's go back over into the listing builder, and I'm just going to delete this other title. I'm just going to actually put in, see, I'm going to pull up the exact question again just so I can see it. So the question is garlic press stainless steel versus garlic press, which variant would do more for my ranking juice? Well, here's the thing, right? Garlic press stainless steel is going to include garlic press. So if you, right? I'll just show that to you real quick, right? So like garlic press, we'll do an example. I'm going to click enter. Right, it's going to give me 206,000 ranking juice. I should just clear my bullets, but I only have to look at the title here. So see here, I'm getting credit in an exact form for this, right? My ranking juice is 206,000. If I make this garlic press stainless steel, I'm still going to be getting credit for garlic press in an exact form, but I'm also going to be getting credit for garlic press stainless steel in an exact form. Why is this good? I'm going to add that on there. I'll delete it in a minute. I just want to see it recalculate. I should get a green box here. So now I can get rid of this garlic chopper. I think it just wasn't updating. Right? So does that make sense? Right? You would obviously, if you're targeting garlic press stainless steel as a root, you're going to put in garlic press stainless steel, and you're also getting credit for garlic press in an exact form. So you really wouldn't have to prioritize at all between the two of those, right? It's kind of like, if I want to get credit for garlic and press and garlic and mincer, should I put in garlic and then separate that from press and separate that from mincer? Like, no, you just need to put in garlic press, garlic mincer, and you're going to get exact credits for both. So I hope that answers the question there. I hope I'm understanding that right. But from a ranking juice perspective, you would put in garlic press stainless steel. That way you can get credit for garlic press and stainless steel, and get a little bit more ranking juice from the stainless steel, obviously, because you're getting credit for all of it. Let me know if that answers your question, Roy. All right, Andy, always good to be with you guys. Great to have you here. Roy, you can open changes to see history. So I think these are all of them. Okay, so Mario, we've got another question here. While excluding the keyword on the MKL, would you see press only relevant for garlic press? Okay, let me read that again. While excluding the keyword on MKL, would you see press only relevant for garlic press? Mario, you're going to have to clarify that. I'm going to try to exclude a keyword. I don't know if I've ever seen this press only relevant. Yeah. Let's go over to the master keyword list. I'm not sure I understand the question. Well, let's see if we can take a look here. So like if I exclude a keyword, exclude one keyword from the selected list. Yeah, I press only. I definitely don't understand this. I hate when that happens because then I lose all the chats. Oh, but luckily Mario put this in. So if you got a generic keyword like press, would you exclude this? Oh, okay. Good question. Got it. So let's go back to the master keyword list. So keep in mind here, right? I'm just going to put in press. I don't think that would happen, right? Because it might be way down at the bottom. I mean, I doubt it. Let's see. Yeah, right. Like, because remember, like how this master keyword list is organized is I have this organized so highest search volume at the top. So unless press was getting like an insane amount of searches independently of garlic press, then it probably wouldn't show up in my master keyword list, right? So I wouldn't exclude it as a keyword. The keywords that I would want to exclude that are too general, like you'll see a lot of them if you come over to outlier keywords. So to make sure it's still recording and get rid of press. Right? Let's see here. Like this is the Spanish translation for accessories for kitchen, right? That is a very general term. If that showed up in my master keyword list, I might be like, this is a little bit too generic. I don't know if I can actually make sales on this, right? So I don't think you're probably going to come across maybe like ricer. I mean, if this was like presser, maybe that would show up. But again, it's got to have enough search volume to show up high in that master keyword list. I don't know if you would come across that, but yeah. But I mean, if there was something that was super general and it was showing up with high search volume and you're like, okay, this is like garlic, for example. Again, it doesn't show up in our master keyword list because it's like grouped in with garlic slicer. It's underneath garlic press, rather. It's inside of that root. But if I saw like just garlic, garlic would be a little bit too generic. Maybe I would remove that from my master keyword list. But I also think how I don't know the tech side of this, but I think how the software groups these keywords together, it's kind of on this basis of root. So I don't think you would come across that example. If you have a follow-up question to that, if something a little more specific, or you've seen an example that you want to share, when we edit these, we're going to blank out anything that's personal. So if you want to share a keyword or, just let us know. All right. Tadam, here we got one more question. When can I find flat file after I click download? It says it goes to clipboard. Can you show me this file? Okay, so let's go into our PPC keywords. So let's say I went through and I set all the parameters for my campaign, right? Or I'm going to go over here into the PPC campaigns, right? Because that's where we'll get the bulk sheet. Remember, 2 options for uploading to Amazon. You can either upload straight to Amazon if you've connected your Seller Central account, or you can decide to generate a bulk sheet. So I'm going to do the new format. Let's see. I think you'll have to have a SKU in.
I believe the flat file is in the listing builder part.
Okay.
And all the way down. That one.
Here we go. Flat file format. So you just copy and paste that?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Let me know if that answers that, Saddam. And I think we had one more question I saw a minute ago. I think we had one more person raising their hand. It was the gentleman who asked the question earlier. Maybe it was Aziz. If you still have a question, feel free to raise your hand and we can take that now.
Anthony?
Yep.
Hi. Yeah, it was a quick one. Keyword tracking. How's that? When's that going into? When's that being released?
Well, I'm here in Vegas right now at Prosper with Florin, our CTO, and he's a little bit, he's like, Brandon, you gotta not post these things on Facebook because now everyone's asking us. So we're just saying that was leaked. I'm not going to tell you the timeline because I think that's like an internal timeline, but it's going to be coming soon. Trust me, I want it to. Everyone wants it. You'll know as soon as we know. I won't say anything else because I don't want to get in trouble, but it's
all right. I'm going to ask you one other one then. Is it multi marketplace or just US?
I think it's going to work for, I believe, I don't know. I don't know this 100% sure. So I'm kind of talking out of my behind right now, but I'm just going to assume it's going to work in all the marketplaces, but I really don't know. But I will tell you, I did see a prototype yesterday. Like Florin was showing it to us. Like it's sick. Like it's going to be really, really good and a big improvement from the niche tracker. So please be patient with us. These things take time. But we'll let you know.
I don't think we're very good at being patient.
No, and that's also, I think, why the dev team is like, don't share this stuff on Facebook. Right?
Cool. Thanks.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, we got another question here from Zlatko. General question: Data Dive works based on Jungle Scout. Jungle Scout works based on the basis of search volume. In addition to search volume, some other apps also show actual sales for this keyword. What do you plan on doing? I guess it's just kind of getting into this question of if we plan on bringing in additional data sets beyond Jungle Scout. I know right now we're just using Jungle Scout data. This is something that everyone asks about. So, our team is definitely aware of it. I can't tell you at what point in the future we might be able to start pulling in, data from Amazon. Right now, we're just using Jungle Scout. So it might not be the answer that you're looking for. I really don't know the answer to that either, of like in terms of timeline, when you might be able to bring in other data sets. Hope that helps.